I hate to alert everybody. They picked it pretty early in the draft. They kind of flexed it until the very end, and then they ended up putting it on position 4. It did not have very much impact. I think the draft overall for them was just kind of really weak in the first game. So I think the first game came out really to kind of a MOUZ out, or kind of like out drafting themselves in a way. And then they were able to get a victory off of Boom's Dawnbreaker in that second game, which was quite nice. But obviously they weren't allowed that same thing in the third game, and it just kind of fell apart eventually for them. I think it's the MOUZ roster is very good. You know, obviously we aren't watching this, but it is relevant to the last series that Liga team played, and I just think that they have some inconsistencies. I think Hoppy and Boom in the mid and the off lane are very kind of, they're very go with the flow players. I think if the game is going very well, they do very well. They're very good from playing ahead. But sometimes it just, in the wrong game, in the wrong draft, they can have these kind of awkward moments. And Liga team had a really good kind of way of just playing consistently around that and being able to just kind of come ahead in most engagements. They also had a very good Ursa performance by Violent yesterday by Liga, because when you're watching Liga, I think Violent is definitely really the player to fully watch. He's kind of, I think, who the roster is built around mainly. Just in terms of, they really like to give him kind of later picks in the draft, give him these really strong hyper carries, and kind of be safe to have that insurance that he is eventually going to win the game.
Yeah, and if I'm thinking, I'm pretty sure I'm talking about Violent here from last season. That we cast a couple games of his where he was just going insane, like playing Prophet, TPing on heroes all over the map and making it work because he was far enough ahead. But trying to do the same thing with a Chaos Knight and the Shadow Blade, and he's gonna play super aggressive. So in the games that he wins, he looks fantastic because he is just closing the map out in its entirety. He's making it very hard for you to be anywhere on the map as the side of whoever he's playing against, because he's going to go chase you down. But on the games where you're behind, you're even, those pickups stop working, it is going to look a little bit interesting. So that was last season. That was when we were looking at him last season. And it is always a bit of a curiosity to see how these players evolve season over season as they figure out the team a little bit more. How strong of a voice is Hellscream? You know, he's the other guy I want to talk about a little bit on the side of Liga team, because Violent, look, former VP, great player. Very much you talk about this kind of cornerstone of the draft that they often go for Liga team. But Hellscream just came in. He's their position 4. It's interesting trying to figure out how much of an impact he's having. He looked great in the group stage because he was able to play for them. He was available, I guess, to play during the group stage. It looked solid there, was making the right plays. But yeah, how does it fold into a better team? As now our draft is properly ready to go here, Ro. It's Liga team. It's 4 Pirates. Game 1 of the upper bracket draft now getting started. We just wait to see what those first picks, those first bans are. Puck, I'm not surprised at all, bro. Are you?
Certainly not. But I'm actually, coming into the series, I'm expecting, at least from what I saw yesterday in Liga and from what I know of 4 Pirates, I'm expecting some pretty big emphasis on Monkey King, actually. I think a Liga team played it twice in that series yesterday, and they looked very good on both games. I think Erase played at both games. I'm actually thinking Primal Beast might be a big hero that's coming through. I believe both these teams like playing it. That hero's been kind of rising to a little bit more popularity. I'm expecting to see that. I wouldn't think either of these carries are going to go for very early picks, so I would definitely be expecting later in the draft, trying to get those hyper carries. Still going to ban out SF, though, of course, going to ban out the Marcy. Just those basic heroes you want to get rid of that are so strong and you flex throughout the whole draft. Definitely get rid of those. Maybe I could see, kind of Pugna slipping through the cracks in this kind of game. I am curious to see what Hellscream plays, because, again, yesterday we did not see him. He had the stand-in, but honestly, Slime looked pretty good. They had Slime Yao yesterday, which you may not have heard of, but he played pretty well. But I do think that Hellscream is probably going to fit the role just better naturally, obviously being a part of the team. And he plays, I'm sure, a lot of the same heroes as Slime Yao, but he's very, proficient at the Tusk, which I think has fit really well with Liga style, fits very well with the Primal Beast and the Monkey King that you might be looking at. So I'm curious to see what he wants to bring out, because he also used to love heroes like Shadow Demon. But it is the Pugna first pick here.
I was going to say, hear me out here. Batrider's still in the pool. Batrider is a 4 hero. Makes sense, but they're not going to go for it. And actually, we do have a couple heroes here that have been very common in first phase picks, first phase bans that are pretty much ignored. There's no Dazzle. We haven't seen Dazzle be really addressed all that much. There's the Batrider. So 4 Pirates is going to take advantage of Liga team not opting for it. One thing I want to point out as we get ready to go into the second phase, you talked about these hyper carries that they play around with Otakar and Violent. That's true for Violent, absolutely. But I feel like when I see Otakar play, he's one of these carry players that really likes to play with mid heroes. You know, we'll see him play a carry Quap, which is not super weird, but we'll see him play carry Leshrac. Go for like kind of these off meta, more magic, more castery focused tempo heroes that can scale, certainly. So yeah, they're kind of very different ways in which Otakar and Violent look at how they're supposed to carry this game.
Yeah, I mean, he does like his little off-meta heroes for sure. I think he's played... Otakar likes playing kind of the Underlord. You know, he's played, I think, Clinks in the last few days. So he does like kind of the weird heroes. I would definitely... I believe one of the previous CCTs we watched him play a carry Beastmaster. So he does like these off-brand heroes. He is very capable, I think, still at bringing out like the Terrorblades, Lifestealers, things like that. He kind of just wants, I think, whatever he thinks is really good for the game, and sometimes that's not a traditional carry that you look at. He just thinks, is this really strong for the game? And then he brings that out. So it is nice to have that flexibility in him. Otakar is also the drafter for 4 Pirates, so clearly he's got a pretty unique take on Dota. And so far, I'm sure they're very happy with the Batrider. I think that fits the 4 Pirates kind of aggressive style. If you want to throw this on support, which I do think they can flex it, but likely support, then it's, you know, it is a hero that can be a little bit more greedy, maybe make up. If Otakar wants to play an off kind of canter hero, just go ahead and make up that farm a little bit on the Batrider. Obviously, it's also nice into Pugna if you can just kind of drag him away from the rest of the team. So I'm sure, you know, just this very, very early trade, the first 2 picks, I'm sure that 4 Pirates is quite happy, but they do, of course, have to get rid of the Abaddon, and there's the Primal coming through.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of initiation right now. You got the Primal, you got the Batrider. That's not something Pugna's going to be super happy about, right? You have these 2 heroes that are just so good at getting on top of the back line. Primal really doesn't care all that much about the Decrepify and the save. Really, neither does Batrider. About this ability to kind of immune from physical damage. So, yeah, it's going to be an interesting Pugna game. He's going to have to be playing very far back on the side of B picks, and Shaker as the response. How do you feel about core versus support Shaker right now?
I think both are good. I definitely don't like support Shaker too much. I try to stay away from it just because I think it's inconsistent. But I think that Earthshaker is definitely rising a lot in popularity. I've been seeing some offlane Shakers. There's been plenty of mid Shakers. The hero, I think, has a pretty decent record in Fissure right now. I think it's either 5-1 or 5-2, something like that. So it's been looking pretty good. It's just a ton of magical damage. It's obviously quite good at disrupting an engagement from the Primal Beast. But I would prefer I'd prefer to have probably it be a core if you're going to play into this heavy initiation, because I think right now these 2 heroes don't like getting jumped on very much as a support duo, and they go for the Warlock instead. So they do lock it into a core position, obviously barring some crazy Pugna mid or anything, but I really doubt we'll see that. 4 Pirates, I'm sure this means they'll probably just double down on kind of the bursting heroes jumping in kind of play style here, although I'm not sure how they're going to want to do it. Obviously, this Monkey King is banned out. Maybe you could go for another hero you can flex, like the Beastmaster. Still left. Oh, the Beastmaster's banned. It is banned. Okay. I think that's something that they would have probably already picked up in such case. I guess they have another slot for a support. Probably get something there for them. Maybe the Tusks to pair with the Primal Beast we've seen. Maybe that kind of goes along with the jump.
Although that is the concept of a Tusk, right? Snowball saves are always nice, but you have any sort of Tusk aggression, you have Shaker. It's like, great, thank you. More Aftershock shock targets. You got more Fatal Bonds targets. So, I mean, it's not the end of the world, and certainly Tusk will find its utility, especially in the laning stage. But, you know, when I look at save supports, because that's still very useful, into this lineup, I'm looking for something that can probably play from a little bit further back, you know, like a Dazzle or something that, yeah, you know, maybe you've got to be a little careful, but has that ability to stay from afar. And there's going to be the Leshrac, which on the side of 4 Pirates, I think is likely the Odoker hero.
Yeah, definitely could be. I don't love it necessarily just because I think that you don't really like playing into Pugna Ward. That's kind of a classic annoying thing for Leshrac to have to go with, but it kind of fits. I mean, if this is what, you know, wherever they place this Leshrac, it can go that Blink build. It can just kind of follow up on any kind of initiation, and they don't have much on Liga Team to stop it. I'm almost surprised actually on Liga Team that they picked up the Warlock over something like the Silencer, or even something like I suppose an Oracle. The Warlock is a bit interesting, but it is, I guess, in equal amounts kind of counter engaged to the Primal Beast. Maybe they think it's just that much stronger in the lane, and now for their 18 pick, I'm assuming that 4 Pirates will want to keep the draft maybe slightly open, probably just pick up their second support here. I do like Tusk just for like the aggression aspect, but they go for
Okay.
Tiny, which is pretty similar. Just another go in decide. I mean, it is also kind of a flex, I guess. So it fits their draft. I like this Tiny a lot. I'm curious if Liga Team have anything they want to bust out for Violent right now. I would assume that since he sees all these heroes, he's going to want his hero. Probably, I would look at Ursa. Probably is the one that I'm really looking at, just as the, you know, obviously the Enrage is very, very good this game. You're good at bursting these heroes. Maybe he's looking at something like a Medusa, but I think that the kite potential is a little scary. Just for Doom instead.
How do you feel about carry Doom in this meta? We have seen it, you know, it was nerfed a little bit, not a lot, but it was nerfed a little bit in 7.390, where you just get a little bit less money from your, you know, your abilities now. But I don't know. I feel like it was like first phase, second phase bans. It's fallen off quite a bit. Into the Lash, into the Primal seems pretty good though. How do you feel about Doom this game?
I don't love it. I mean, I think that Doom is worse against Lesh than it used to be. Obviously, Lesh is a hero that gets off most of his damage in a burst anyway, so typically dooming him in the middle of a fight is not that useful. It's also, Leshrac is not played around Bloodstone really very much anymore. That item's kind of not very good. So you're not negating the lifesteal too much. There's not too much healing to negate with the Doom. So I don't love this Doom pick. I think it's okay just to have like beef to play in front of your Warlock, to play in front of your Pugna. I don't think it's a harmful pick. I don't love it personally. I think Doom is pretty feast or famine, and I've seen a lot of Dooms you know, kind of starve lately. I just, I don't know. I get very skeptical of the Doom. I think that he could be perfectly fine, but I've seen games where it looks like it's a really good Doom game, and then they just absolutely get stomped in the lane, and then basically have no impact. I've seen games where I'm like, oh wow, it's a horrible Doom game, and then he somehow ends up top the net worth, you know, two shot someone with Echo Saber. It's just a weird, weird carry hero. Some players are very good at it on the carry. I think some players aren't as comfortable. I would expect Violent obviously to be quite proficient with it, but I personally am not leaning towards loving it at the moment.
Gotcha. Now, of course, you talked about the Leshrac. If you can get on the Leshrac before those spells are out, then you just have a useless hero for the rest of the fight. So yeah, if Leshrac starts to go and gets his Pulse Nova going, gets the Diabolic Edict going, yeah, it doesn't matter. But if you get the Doom on first, if you're able to find him, which is not always the easiest thing, then you can just totally nullify a hero. And yeah, percentage damage versus the Primal versus the Tiny is always going to be really nice. With this last pick, though, it does feel there's no bad. All right. You have your two supports. It does feel like you might like to try to find something from the core that helps you deal with a Bat Rider a little bit more, this kind of triple engage that exists. My mind, mainly just because of, I guess, pubs I've been playing recently, goes to Tinker with the Shield. That's probably not what you're looking for.
Yeah,
What?
Tinker's a little bit hard if you get
Yeah.
thrown in. Um, it is interesting. They could flex. Okay, well, as I said, they could flex any of these heroes that they could do a Shaker mid, but looks like it is going to be the Shaker off lane that has started to rise a little bit to popularity. And they're just going to pick up an Ember. Not really an incredible Ember mid game by any means. I think the chains are annoying for some of these heroes. But ultimately, this is kind of just Ember good hero. pick him up. Hopefully he can match some of the aggression from 4 Pirates. And on 4 Pirates, this is where they have kind of a decision to make, and they go for the Natures on the very last pick of the draft. This hero did actually get hit a little bit from the patch, one of the more meaningful nerfs onto the Soothing Saplings, but it still does the same thing. It's not like his teleport was nerfed at all. The damage was very, very barely nerfed from his Q. His stats are still very good. So I'm thinking that this 4 Pirates draft is what I'm going to favor heading into the game, assuming that they can get off to the start that they want and just play super, super aggressive tempo. Because I think if they get ahead, letting their foot off the gas is going to feel nearly impossible. They are just such an aggressive team with an extremely aggressive draft, and it's really up to Liga team to just kind of mitigate that. And I don't know if their draft effectively can.
I don't know what you're talking about, Rojo. The nerf that clearly matters for the Prophet is the fact that it has 5 less agility at level 25.
Yeah,
that
could
nerf.
really take Otakar to the streets.
That's like what? 3 less damage?
I think less, but that's like -1 armor. I mean, that makes him literally killable. Makes him literally killable. So could be an issue for Otakar heading into the 40-45 minute mark. But before then, I think TPing around the map, he should have plenty of good targets to go on to. I think this is a draft that can abuse the Doom a little bit, which is something that I like to see into these carry Dooms. Just walking into his lane, being annoying, taking his space on the map. So I'm quite happy with this 4 Pirates draft. I'm sure they are as well.
Yeah, it's certainly one of those things where Doom wants to be playing around their Doom, nothing else. Doom, you get enough items fast enough that you really don't want to have to be continuously keeping a quelling blade in your backpack for as long as you're just kind of forced to with the Prophet existing. So yeah, some problems I think for this Doom is going to try to find his way into the game. I'm also a little worried about this Ember Spirit. Yeah, it's pretty good overall. Chain Gang is nice to be able to force these heroes to stay in place. But you have a Primal Beast. You have a Bat Rider. You have a Tiny. You have all of this stun, all of this control to force A, Ember out of position, and B, just to lock him down so you can kill him. You have Split Earth once something else is locked in. Ember is going to have to play very carefully around these fights, pretty much up until they get the BKB.
Yeah, I think notably as well, it's Ember into Leshrac, which contesting runes can be quite difficult into the Leshrac because obviously Diabolic Edict. If you're ever caught out in position, if you make too many mistakes in that early laning phase, you can just die randomly. That's just the life of a melee hero versus Leshrac. So he has to be really careful in that regard. I really think heading into this game, the way I want to see Liga play this, honestly, is I just want to see them bring like 4 or 5 heroes everywhere. I think that is kind of going to be their way into it, and there's going to break out a rune fight as well. 4 runes for 4 Pirates.
Well, that's not how it's supposed to go. A lot of damage here on the mid lane Leshrac, sure, but yeah, that's 4 runes. That's a significant. That's like, what is that? 500 total net worth lead, 600 total. It's a lot in this early game. And yeah, it's 600 overall. And that's just not great. That's going to give this Leshrac, who already had a pretty advantageous matchup into this Ember, it's going to give him a faster bottle. It's going to get him much faster on the tempo. And well, Ember in the mid game may be solid because you can get a blade mail and you do 600 damage or so to the Leshrac for like the 100 you take with Flame Guard active. You're still not happy about the way this laning stage is supposed to go.
Yeah, this is going to be tough. Particularly when you lose all 4 of your bounty runes. It's usually really hard to get into that bottle on the timing you want to. Sometimes you'll actually miss, kind of bottling that water rune, and then you miss a decent bit of HP off the back of that. I will also say, Corrupted yesterday did play the offlane Earthshaker. You can see here, he is a Master Tier Earthshaker. Very much I would trust him to pilot this hero, but kind of the question of Earthshaker in a core position is, how useful is he going to be before he gets his items? Because even if Corrupted can press all of his buttons really well, sometimes it just doesn't really feel like they do very much up until you have that Kaya, up until you have your Blink Dagger, of course. So it's going to be, coming out of the lane decently. Probably, Earthshaker's not a hero that's very likely to pressure Otakar very much. So it's more of a surviving type of hero. Guess we'll see if that opens up Hellscream at all to kind of walk into the mid lane. Maybe you can kind of switch this matchup a little bit in the mid lane if you can bring supports over. Malin is getting aggressive onto Reyes.
Yeah, Reyes also getting aggressive on the other side as we're going to see Sleight of Fist go in, trying to zone him out here. No Diabolic Edict available, so it's going to be fine. And now they're going to split Water Runes 2 for 2. You talked about how losing all the runes like this can sometimes make it difficult to get into your bottle fast enough. He will have that ready to go. So, bit of opportunity there. Not quite going to find what he wants, but at the end of the day, it is better trades. You're forcing some of the bottle charges out a little bit earlier out of a race, forcing his HP down once again. And we can see Malin just trying to posture, right? Set himself on the right side, making sure that the moment that the creeps are done, he can start to hit that Diabolic Edict if he wants to. But Race is playing this defensively for now. As we take a look at the bottom lane as well, this doesn't strike me as really much of a lane that Warlock or that Primal should have too much kill threat in, but not too much the other way either.
Yeah, I mean, Primal was actually funny enough, kind of similar to the Earthshaker, but so far he's actually just having a worse time than Corrupted. Only 5 CS so far for Mr. Moral. Sometimes this happens. Primal, I think, is a hero that doesn't care necessarily too much about having a super strong lane. You'd very much like to. It's more just, can you make sure that you don't give away kills? Can you get your levels are particularly important for the Primal Beast. Likely that'll open up Perdan at some point. Probably to walk over towards that mid. Odeker is pump faking that TP into the mid lane, actually. Just threatening a Race who is only on 200 HP, but so far managing to match Malin pretty well.
Are you at all surprised that we're not seeing this Primal just... I mean, Primal is probably... He's not Axe, but he's one of the better heroes in the game at kind of cheesing the mid lane. But Perdanic now is going to try to show up here, make a rotation onto this Ember Spirit, but Ember goes north. Odeker's going to find him. Hellscream's here, but there's going to be really good chains. And actually, Malin has to be very careful. And Beepix is going to be able to take him down. Now Perdanic, he's going to try to run away. A lot of damage being done, but he does have an Avalanche, and that should get him on out of here. But he set that play up. That was supposed to be the move from 4 Pirates, where they're going to go get aggressive, take the Ember Spirit down, and instead they lose their Leshrac, who was having a good lane, who was kind of winning this matchup. And now a Race, he's got a little space. He can get some denies. He's got an assist to his name. It makes this life a lot easier. As on the top side, goodbye, Shaker. Going to fall down to the Batrider.
Yeah, Ariel did not make the move over towards the rune, and obviously Hellscream did. So Corrupted just kind of got a little bit shafted there in that engagement. That's unfortunate for him, but does feel fine, of course, because the trade in the mid lane was definitely favorable for Liga team. I do like that a Race is choosing to not go for the Flame Guard. A lot of times, I think a lot of players will still want to go the Flame Guard into Lesh, which is not necessarily bad, just for the farming potential, but this is just a much better fighting build to be able to stand up to 4 Pirates aggression. Ariel, speaking of, was breaking into the triangle there. Odeker TPing over as well onto Hellscream.
And there we go. Diabolic Edict kills things very quickly, even if the Tiny is the one that gets the kill at the end of the day. Perdan is now going to just drop Corrupted in. But I don't know how I feel about that one, because now he just has the stuns on top of Odeker. And now Odeker's the one. He's got to run. He does not have a TP for 33 seconds. And no TP scroll either, so he just has to get on out of there, and maybe a little bit too ballsy. Perdanic, he's like, great, more fuel to the fire. Unfortunately, it's poplar, it's pine. It's something that spits back at you as you try to burn it, and it's not, maybe not quite the damage that our prophet was expecting.
Yeah, not as strong as he once was, the prophet, considering the nerfs. And toss back onto your Race. It's so much damage.
Yeah, he's dead.
Edicts.
Man, misanthropy is a powerful drug. It's like every time you see this, you're like, oh, maybe he's gonna be fine, and then he's absolutely not fine. Not in the void like that. So we will see Ember Spirit going down for a second time as the Leshrac starts to take over a little bit more, certainly with the help of this Tiny. And well, the other lanes, it looks like we're going to be able to get the level 7. Ooh. The 7-minute timing that's going to be a dead Warlock. Man, Perdanic is doing such a good job in this game.
Yeah, he's catching a lot. I mean, they picked him this tiny late into the draft for a reason. It just sets up very nicely, especially with the Leshrac. Is, of course, going to TP over to the Wisdom Shrine to try and fight Violent down here.
Let's see if they can take him down. Oof. Onslaught into the Pulverize. A lot of damage, but not quite enough to kill. And with the Chain Lightning, it actually did doom the Tiny, but he's going to be able to get the spells off. And yeah. Not enough damage there. Perdanic did such a nice job of playing far back and making sure that he wasn't going to take any bonus damage, wasn't going to tick out to the Doom, comes back in, gets the toss, and make sure that this is a dead Doom, which you talked about it. Sometimes this Doom sinks, sometimes it swims. He's not having a bad game, but that was not getting killed early, not getting a kill on the invade is not exactly what you're looking for.
Definitely that was a sinking play for sure. That was, you're talking about the classic CK Shadowblade that we had seen before from Violent. Definitely the same kind of air there, just going for a solo play. I mean, if Odeker would have been able to come over, that also would have punished him. It's just a little bit too over aggressive. Gets punished this time for that. Still is having a great game on Violent, but again, it's not a hero that you want to have these kind of mess ups on. I think Doom is very much reliant on getting into these early timings. Corrupted is going to Echo Slam stacks in the triangle here.
But kind of lacking the mana to clean it up. That's unfortunate. Yeah. You Echo Slam the triangle stacks, and you actually don't have the resources to clean the stacks. At least not all of them. So
he'll come back. He'll collect his dues a little bit later. And again, in the mid lane, Perdanic.
This time, though, Malin gets pretty low as well. Oh, okay, toss back in, and it doesn't matter. Who cares if you decrepify the Leshrac, right? Is a big play for Moral and Odeker on the bottom side here, taking down this Doom. Ariel looking for more. Only level 5. Does have the Flame Brick, though. Gets on top of B-Pix, and you're running upriver. There's no speed boost there, so he's going to fall down as well, giving the kill to... Trying to give the kill to Mr. Moral, but Ariel gets the kill anyways. And that is 4 dead, really across the map here. You don't have any sort of counterplay available from the Shaker. Right? No Echo Slam just yet. You're still pretty far away from your Blink. And kind of what you were worried about. Shaker, before he gets his items, not incredibly effective. At least a Primal, you have Onslaught Trample. You know, you do have these engage tools in a way that Shaker doesn't have as much.
Yeah, I mean, thankfully he got a lot off the stacks on Corrupted.
Oh, not again.
Back. Oh my god, he just has his number on Perdanic. He is making Erase's life absolute hell.
Oh, he's erasing
This is, yeah, he's doing more, I think. He was never there to begin with. And it is not a pretty sight so far for Liga team. I mean, this, before it was like the difference in mid, you know, is maybe 2.5 to 3.2. Levels were decent. Now it's 5,000 versus 2,600. It's Perdanic is only 300 net worth behind where Erase is on the Ember Spirit. So that should kind of key you in to where this game is at. Even though it's only a 3K lead for 4 Pirates, it really feels like a lot. Because Liga team, again, they do not have the same kind of tools to fight in this early game. It's going to be a pretty long time before they can really clap back to anything that 4 Pirates can do. And that's partially why I want to see them just bringing everybody everywhere. I want to see, even though their heroes might not necessarily want to do that, I think instinctively, I think if you want to kind of match this 4 Pirates draft, you just have to bring everything. Throw the whole kitchen, you know, sink there. Just no funny games, no funny business.
And that's why it's really good that they've been focusing this Ember Spirit across the board, right? Because Doom's not going to do anything before his. He's got to get a Radiance. Needs a BKB probably. He needs items to be able to play the game. Shaker needs a Blink, so he's not had the best game. He's gonna have it in 1,000 gold or so. It really is supposed to be playing through this Ember Spirit. That's supposed to be kind of setting things up so the Shaker can go in before he gets his Blink, so the Doom can get kills. And by focusing this Ember Spirit, so much agency has been removed from the map as we got a bit of a dive here, getting set up on the bottom side maybe. Violent appears to be aware of it, so even though we see a big concentration of heroes, well, Ariel smokes. Is he gonna find? Yeah, they're going. Okay, so they're gonna go for a portal smoke, I think, but no one particularly close on the other side of the portal. In the mid lane, goodbye, Pugna. Malin is unstoppable.
Yeah, it goes for the very early blink, not playing around like Kaya or anything, not playing to you know, increase his own farm for the time being. Just wants to get kills, and he can certainly get those with the help of Perdanic. First here on the Warlock, he is going to get caught.
Toss back on. Okay, so Rock's gonna get dropped for now. That's a lot of damage on top of Malin. Malin will get the kill, but he dies in exchange. Doesn't matter though, because we're gonna see this Earthshaker get taken down as well. No Echo Slam available. And now a toss back once again. It's getting a little dicey though. This Golem is doing so much here, and we're gonna lose the Primal Beast eventually as well. 3 dead on the side of 4 Pirates. It's Ariel and it's Otaker. They're gonna get out of here. Kind of worried that we were going to lose the Prophet as well, but you toss back the Warlock and you just give him a ready-made rock delivery tool.
Yeah, and that was bringing the heroes there on Liga. That was bringing Corrupted, even though he doesn't have the most tools. That was bringing Violent over. Just anything that you can, I think, to try and stop this aggression. Because again, 4 Pirates, they're going to do it. That's what their draft is built around. So getting ready to punish it, very nicely done. Just being in position for, of course, the Warlock, who did already pop the Black Grimoire. So unfortunately, no XP gained from him there, but you'll very happily take that kind of trade in the mid lane. And it does bring a race back into a pretty playable net worth state. He's now confidently above where Perdan is. Maybe not as much as he would like, but at least there's a distinction between the two now. And Otaker did finally finish the Maelstrom. So even though he hasn't actually made the most moves with his team, he's got about 6 assists actually. He's really taking away still.
I know you're talking about being comfortably above Perdanic, but this is a 13-minute blink on the Tiny. This is so fast for him. They're going to start to think about invading something. Big Circle's played on the top side, which unfortunately there's no one there. So it looks like this first smoke move from the Tiny, this attempted blink reveal, is not really going to turn into too much. That's actually pretty good news for Liga because, again, they're not going to be expecting a 13-minute blink. I mean, maybe they will. They know Tiny's been having a really good game, but for now, they got a smoke on the other side here as Ariel continues to run. Corrupted does have his blink dagger as well, and Mr. Morrow's going to get out of here. So these smokes... You thought about
nicely done. Yeah, you can see him fighting. Okay, fighting with his inner spirit to go kill those 2 camps.
Let he who has not been baited out by a creep wave cast the first stone.
Yeah, that was great restraint. I am not better than that. I definitely would have died for those 2 large camps. And Mr. Morrow actually does have a blink dagger as well himself. They do get Perdanic the top side, which is well, he does have blink. Okay, just barely with erase.
Not quite. I was kind of expecting to see some TPs in, but the tower's dead, so that doesn't really matter. But yeah, that's just the NA player in you, Rojo. This desire to just incessantly farm creeps. The expense of anything else.
You've not played EU pubs, clearly.
Oh, you're right. I live in Texas, man. You know, I'm too far away from Europe.
They, maybe they don't AFK farm as much, but they still love hitting or fighting over really anything. It's just one creep camp could be a full 5v5. Of course, in this game, it has kind of felt like that.
Not the opposite of what I'm saying. I'm like, we greed out for camps at the expense of everything instead of fighting.
Yeah, I suppose so. But for the moment, they have had to slow down on 4 Pirates, which I suppose makes sense. Eventually, you have to kind of let off for a moment, especially with Corrupted having this blink. He can kind of be the nuisance here. He does have the shard, which is, again, with Earthshaker, we've been seeing you kind of push getting the shard timing up more and more. Pretty much all these core Earthshakers now just get it as soon as you can at 15 minutes.
Oh, Arrow's going to get found out. There's the fissure, there's the chains, but he won't be able to get out of here for now.
Just
runs high
away.
ground, and the Remnant's not going to find him, so that was a nice move. Runs on out of there, but there is still a smoke available on Corrupted and on B-Pix as they set up behind a race. Moving a little bit further forward. Certainly they weren't able to get Ariel, but maybe they're going to get... it's a Tiny with an Arcane Rune. That does not feel dicey there. The smoke's going to break. Perdanic just gets on out. He's fine and says, hey, Malin, run away. Malin is going to run as well. By the way, talking about things, You mentioned that this was a Blink Dagger right on the Primal Beast. This is going to be 4 Blink Dagger game on the side of 4 Pirates. They're very interested. There's going to be the toss back into the lasso, immediately dead. Well played there, Perdanic, working together with Aerial, but that's the value of having 4 Blink Daggers on the side of your team. The minute you go in, everyone else can join you, and people will just explode.
Yeah, it was really nicely executed as well, just to make sure that Erase has not even a second for counterplay, immediately into the lasso. Very nicely communicated there from them. And you know, it is just the synergy here for Pirates. They drafted, obviously, this whole lineup around simply just executing. You just kind of want to execute better than the enemy team with what they have. They are going to maybe catch Aerial. Oh, that was not the strongest execution on the Avalanche.
Kind of a waste of Doom, though. I didn't even get the kill necessarily. So
yeah,
now Doom is on cooldown. They're going to continue to chase here. Obviously, you got all the other ultimates, right? You got Echo, you have Rock, but I guess Doom just he's like, I just want to feel included, man. You know, just like I just want to feel like I'm doing something. As toss back once again on top of Bvix will force the Rock, and the chains are good. But the Rock just dies very quickly. With Odeker being here, Race just has to run, bounces around, plays ping pong. Ooh. Good Echo Slam's gonna take down the Leshrac and the Tiny as well. And now Odeker's here. He's all alone. And probably gonna draw. Odeker's still alive. Not gonna be able to get out in time, but they should be able to get a race in exchange. Big winner though, Corrupted gets a couple kills, forces out a lot of stuff on the side of 4 Pirates and brings this back just about to equal.
Yeah, I mean, obviously you don't want to group against Earthshaker in general, but Corrupted, he just, in the series yesterday, he always finds a way to land everything, but in this case, they're just really focused on getting that singular kill and weren't able to quite catch it. Mr. Moral on to Corrupted, and nobody here to follow up quite yet. Aerial has the lasso.
Thinks about, it really just goes toggles the fissure, but understands that they're buying some space here. Good. Oh, very well done there on the fissure and the totem and the shard, but not gonna matter here. It does counter the onslaught. That's kind of cool, but they kill the Pug. Pugna is just a little skeleton boy. He dies pretty easily.
Yeah, cool breeze. We'll typically take this hero out. They are gonna try to go on to Violent though. Nice execution here. Just toss into the split earth. No chance for a reaction there from Violent. Fortunately, he is, of course, quite a ways away from getting any kind of BKB or anything. Going back forward, that second Midas, as the NA player inside of him, I'm sure, wants to, for Violent. But, I mean, it is Corrupted doing a lot so far. I mean, he is now top net worth, and he is, you know, level 14. Only matched here, really, by Mr. Moral, who also happened to get a cleanup there. Solo XP, kind of crazy these days, and Earthshaker, definitely a hero benefiting a lot from it. Has that extra tectonic buildup for the extra AoE. Aerial ships in the night, past Corrupted. It's a ward down.
Oh, they're trying to hit this Tormentor timing. They know everyone's going to be clumped up for it, but the portal scared them back. They're back up for now, as Aerial's going to get found out on the bottom side. Good job there on Corrupted. He also hits level 15 out of this. So even more aftershock damage. This Echo hurts that much more, but Aerial was the bodyguard. His job was to just say, hey guys, run away. They're all here. We don't want this. And so everyone backs up, and hey, it's a profit. He's back to farming. What else is new?
Odeker is, you know, he's taking the high road. He has died once in this game. He has 8 assists. I'm gonna go ahead and hit the creeps, do the consistent play here, since there isn't really much to do. Perdanic is just
looking for the steal. I don't know. Wait, did he get it? No, he did not.
No, he didn't. It was really
close.
The kill. It was really close. If Corrupted didn't get that fissure off, definitely would have stolen it there on Perdanic. I respect the play. I mean, obviously it wasn't worth it, but I do like the kind of spunk to go in there. Malin is eyeing his BKB. Actually, only about 200 gold off of it. That should mark a pretty big timing for them. Definitely important against the Mage Slayer that race has gone. We've seen typically these Embers kind of skip the Mage Slayer nowadays, but it's a little bit too juicy, I think, unfortunately, into Dire's draft here. Very good game for it, but it does mean you kind of need that BKB to bypass that damage reduction there. And Mr. Moral has his own as well.
Yeah, big BKB timing as Ariel was, I think, thinking about trying to go on this Pugna, but yeah, there are people behind him, so it's a little scary. Perdanic now shows himself. Blink on cooldown for 10. But it's going to be Echo Slam immediately on top of Malin. Backside, no time to pop that BKB. And they're just going to have to back on out of here. It felt like they were baiting something on these BKB timings. But there is just way too much damage from this Earthshaker right now to let that happen. Oof, and now BKB's popped. Here comes Mr. Moral. Goes for the Pulverize and everything else. But the Rock's going to break that down in time. Now Ariel cannot get the spells out he wants. It will be a dead supports. That's something. But they're going to try to find a race here that much more. No Pulverize for 20. So it looks like a race here. He doesn't have any more remnants. Yeah, so now Mr. Moral gets on top of him, gets the stun. There's going to be the Shaker. Avalanche goes, buys a little bit more space. And with, oh, that's such an unfortunate Sprout. Goes on Mr. Moral and might just kill him off. But Odeker comes in that much more, teleports in. And just not enough damage, not enough chase. With the Shaker behind is this backstage bodyguard, making it so hard for them to take this Ember Spirit down.
Corrupted is playing this so well. He is definitely playing within the margins to keep this game together, doing all that he possibly could, making it look really good. That's Earthshaker, but kind of was an unfortunate Sprout. I think Odeker, but that a tiny bit more optimally could have gotten that kill on a race. Unfortunate to not pick that one up because the race is now actually having a pretty reasonable game. Still, he's quite a bit behind where the other cores are, but he's got his levels. He's gotten to level 15, which is kind of the big one. He's got Blade Mail, eyeing that Kaya soon. I feel like he's in a very happy spot, actually, for where the Ember Spirits typically end up. And it was the kind of BKB timing that they should have. Obviously, they still have it very much. They're going to smoke up off of it, knowing that Malin hasn't even used the 9-second, but they're able to survive that for the moment on Liga team, which means they're going to get pretty close into getting their own soon here on Violent and on Corrupted.
Yep, 8 seconds for the Echo Slam, even less now. It's up and ready to go here. They're going to find the Pugna. That's a really good start, but it also means that everyone else is going to run. There's no point in fighting around here. You know the smoke happened. They smoke ganked the tier 1, and they're going to be able to get that one, but not going to get any of these big cores that you really care about. Primal finds a little, but unless you want to pop your BKB, chasing down this Shaker feels like just about an impossibility.
Yeah, Mr. Moral does have a pretty good game ahead of him, though, I will say. He's already got the BKB blink, which is obviously really what Primal wants. Heading straight into that refresher.
Oh, nice lasso there on top of the Ember Spirit. Do we have any follow-up? Not quite.
Yet.
There's going to be a little bit more, but you do have easy ways to get out of the Sprout. Mr. Moral was just not quite close enough. He was running, but with the TP, you had to get on top of him immediately, and yeah, just not quite enough there to chain things together. So it's a TP on cooldown. You got that.
Yeah, a consolation prize. I suppose so for the time being. They would, I think, have liked to get, honestly, a little bit more on for Pirates by this time. I guess it kind of got a lot early, and then obviously Corrupted kind of came in, wrecking things. Doing so very much on the Earthshaker. Getting into the BKB, should have it soon for himself. Again, Violent just finished up his own. Still kept the Midas as well, so not feeling too pressured to fight back on Liga yet, as they do finally have a small gold lead for themselves.
Yeah, it's not a big one, right? It's very playable. You look at Dota Plus, it's like 50-50. You look at everything. It's a very even game at this point. So the question really at this point is when does someone blink? This is not a lineup that anyone wants to go fight, like go try to steal a Roshan. This is very much, you got to take a fight into Rosh. So that's kind of the next big objective here. And with the smoke on the mid lane, Mr. Moral is aware of where the Ember, or Malin's aware of where the Ember is, but the rest of the team into the deep jungle. They're not going to find anyone for now. Perdanic reading this very well, running away. We do have 2 on the backside, on the bottom side of the map, with Mr. Moral and the Bat Rider working together, and they are just going to go start this Roshan into the concept of this Leshrac, of this Primal Beast. Doesn't seem like right now, though, that 4 Pirates are incredibly aware of this. So even though fighting into this Rosh pit would be terrifying, you don't really have to. They're not really going to engage into it. So first Roshan of the game is going to go the way of this Ember Spirit most. Well, actually, looks like they're trying to give it to the Doom. Verdanic's here now, though. But he can't. He's chained up. He's not going to have a blink available. So, yeah. First Roche of the game. First Aegis goes to this Doom. And he's got Blink, BKB, Radiance. He's got everything he could possibly want. In fact, gets on top of Aerial right now. There's the stun. Goodbye. Violent. Corrupted gets the kill on there, but started by Violent as Corrupted just continues to go from strength to strength. He's got his Kaya Yasha. He's got a Lincoln's on the way after this. He just has everything he could possibly want, and Malin thinks about going on top. I don't know how I feel about that one. And Doom's just going to blink out of there and says, no, we're fine. I don't really want this. So now, pressure on to the tier 2. At least a little bit. They're just trying to split the map. Bat Rider is not going to be up for another 10 seconds. Still sitting there about 1,000 gold, 900 away from the BKB, which is really where you want to be at this Bat Rider to make some of these lassos work out a little bit more. But I don't think you're ever going to complain necessarily about letting your Prophet get that much more money. He's got his BKB, Hurricane Pike, Mjolnir going to the Shard behind that. Ideally, you're going to find some pickoffs. That'd be really nice, but even if you don't, you're going to be able to put pressure on this tier 2 because you know the rest of the team is top. Even if the Shaker goes in, you can go 4-staff your way out of that one. What I will say, though, is Shaker does have this 9-second BKB. So we talk about these timings where the next fight kicks off. A lot of the damage is going to be very heavily mitigated on the side of Liga team. There's BKB on all 3 cores. Leshrac, yes, you do damage through BKB now for the last, year or so. But even still, it's not full damage. So this Leshrac damage is going to be decently minimized. Primal damage, decently minimized. And it really will be on the damage that this Prophet can lay in, which is it's a lot, right? The Prophet clicks very hard at this stage in the game.
Yeah, he certainly does, but I don't know. I don't think Otakar can carry the damage, especially through the likes of a D-Crep and the evasion coming out from Violent. I think it's going to have to be just kind of a jump thing, and jumping onto Perdanic. Where's that?
Not going to get him, though.
Whoever starts the fight, I think, at this point is very likely to have the upper hand. Again, that is kind of just Doom in a nutshell. Can you get the Doom off before all these spells come out? Can you go ahead and burst somebody with the lasso, which Ariel's going to have his own BKB soon. That could help a little bit. Hellscream is eyeing a Lotus, or maybe to mitigate that problem just a little bit.
For now, though, tier 2 is going to go get taken down as everyone else smokes behind. It's kind of interesting watching this game. We've seen so many smoke attempts that have just whiffed. You know, getting maybe the Pugna, but really has been 2 ships passing in the night. But now counter smoke coming out from 4 pirates as well. 2 minutes left on this Aegis. This is not like that end of Aegis timing that you may be looking for. But Malin, he's supposed to get popped immediately here. They're going to find a raise. Blinks back. Smoke gets broken, and Doom goes in, looks for the Doom on someone. Perdanic, though, doing a very nice job of kiting as Aerial on the backside, not quite able to get the lasso. And many BKBs now going to get forced. A lot of damage, though, on top of Violent. There's going to be the lasso on top of this Warlock. Can they kill him before the rock? Yes, they can. No rock's now going to be available, and Violent will die the first time. Buyback on the Warlock, looking to TP and drop the rock a second time. Otakar now getting chased down, but does have the force down. Echo Slam misses. That's not what you need. As Otakar accidentally clicks the Watcher. Oh, no. He's going to fall down. 70 seconds on the deck. You just got to get the hell on out of there. Oh, man, these Watchers, man. They get me every time.
And I haven't been there.
I'm glad that it's not just me. But very unfortunate for Otakar there.
Yeah, they're going to try and get Mr. Mole. They should be able to. Chains are going to land. It's going to try to take them on a little bit of a trip, but it'll be a trip straight to the Tormentor. All expenses paid. Maybe they want to try and finish it off here. It's kind of hard between the 3 of them, but Erase feels that they should. Going to try for it. Actually did die to the Tormentor on Mr. Mole, so that's kind of nice. At least didn't give away that last kill, but it was just really botched, the engagement from 4 pirates. They had, I think, kind of the jump, but really the issue is if you get Violence Doom down onto obviously Mr. Moral, because he is so much of what their team is right now. Obviously, he's got that BKB, he's got the refresher. He can do so much in these fights, but none of that is going to happen if he gets doomed at the very beginning. So it was just really, really awkward from Liga team or from 4Pirates. And of course, they were also smoking into the Aegis. So they got that kill into Violent. Didn't matter. You know, probably wouldn't have used the Aegis for anything else. Granted, how many times we've seen these teams just kind of go for something and nothing really happen.
Ariel goes for the lasso on top. Man, he get the blade mail out in time. The Melon taking so much damage. Oh, that didn't work. It's a dieback on the Warlock. That's something. But getting the flame guard blade mail up means that you are literally doing more damage to yourself than you're taking. As now Perdanic goes in a little bit more, tries to get this Ember Spirit down, and there's Odeker. So revenge is taken. But the damage on that blade mail. Okay, Odeker's gonna go and Violent's gonna get the doom off, but not before Pulverize is done. Perdanic on the backside. Beautiful play there. Ariel, though, gonna get taken down. Now Odeker's in the middle of this. This is not where he wants to be. Not doing the damage that he needs to. Corrupted for now. Has to force to have his way on out of there, but the Ember's gonna chase him on the buyback. Moral, though, looks for a bit of a stun. There's more erase. Oh, just not enough. And now they're gonna clean them all up here. Mr. Moral falls down as well. Wild sequence of events, but erase, even though he died, the buyback incredibly worth it.
Buyback was extremely clutch there from erase. They definitely needed that. And again, just awkward from 4Pirates. Honestly, I think at the end, things might not have gone so poorly. But the Sprout from Odeker actually separated Perdanic from getting that toss to finish off erase there is just not good. Well, not good for the moment. Malin, too, he doesn't have the BKB. And again, he takes more damage from that blade mail than he actually is dishing out. So he is going to go down himself there. Extra little kill to pick up. Ariel would love to get something on the backside, but he might just be another kill.
Yeah, pops BKB, Lotus and Lincoln's on top of this Ember Spirit, so you're not lassoing him. That's just, it's not a thing. It doesn't exist. And this game is rapidly falling apart here for 4Pirates. They played so well in the early game, Rojo. Got all the kills, built themselves a pretty significant net worth lead. And now we're just seeing some of the issues, I think, with the modern Nature's Prophet. Like, well, there's a Decrepify, they're just a bunch of beefy heroes, and you TP in, and you're just not killing things fast enough.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of it is just the small things in these fights are going really poorly for 4Pirates. Again, I think the Doom coming out 2 times now onto Mr. Moral really is unfortunate, because obviously he didn't itemize for the Lincolns or for the Lotus Orb, which Liga team has, and it's a very, very good game for it. Obviously, the Primal Beast and the Flaming Lasso, both of them hate playing into the Lotus Orb, hate playing into the Lincolns, just for that kind of ease of engage. And now Liga team has gotten past that hurdle where they can just kind of play back, wait for things to happen. If you place the Lotus Orb on the right time for Hellscream, which he's been quite good about, you can kind of stop these engagements altogether. And
all right, Doom goes down on top of this Tiny, so he seems destined to die. He's gonna fall down. It's kind of good though for 4Pirates is on the backside here, and that's a little bit nicer. But Mr. Moral's gonna have to run away, even as the Pugna will fall. Kind of nice though for 4Pirates, where they had an invis shaker just like in their midst, and only losing your Tiny for Doom as well is probably best case scenario there, because they didn't know Corrupted was there. You know, he was looking for the optimal play, just didn't quite find it.
Yeah, I mean, it's nice to waste the Doom. I guess they'll just wait for it. Violent is level 24 now, by the way. He had a pretty whatever game up until these last few fights. Now he's level 25. Obviously a huge timer for the Doom. Has a Satanic and AC. Sometimes you look away from Doom for a minute and then he sells off half his inventory, ends up with this crazy set of items. Looking towards that overwhelming blink. Does have the Doom applies mute. So even if you do get off this Doom pretty late in the fight, it's going to be a huge issue for the likes of 4Pirates. They don't have any answers yet to the Doom, which maybe it's too hard to buy them on their heroes. Maybe Perdanic should be eyeing a Lotus Orb instead of the Sewells that he got. Maybe Mr. Moral should have prioritized having this Lincolns, but regardless, they are going to head into the Roshan. Definitely feels like Liga team has the upper hand by a pretty good margin in any of these fights. Granted, a really, really horrible engagement, but they've been very, very careful to not let 4 Pirates get those kind of engagements that they want. Odeker finishes up the Daedalus. Hopefully that's enough damage for the side of 4 Pirates, but it just doesn't feel like it.
Yeah, the problem with Prophet these days is your damage has been progressively nerfed over time, you know, with your facet, with your innate, with everything else just kind of being taken down. And on top of that, you know, you have this lineup that is a Shaker and a Doom and an Ember Spirit that just want to dive on top of you. And that means that this Prophet can effectively, you can fight when there's a BKB, you can fight when you got a BKB. And that is kind of it. Once that BKB goes down, you're going to get chain stun, you're going to get hunted. And even with the Daedalus, we're going to have to see if Odeker has the damage that it takes to go and be able to click 1 or 2 heroes down before anything else is going to happen. And especially now that there's an Assault Cuirass, you know, on top of the Decrepify. I'm not convinced, Rojo.
Yeah, it doesn't inspire me too much to see Odeker here. I mean, it kind of sucks as well. Typically, with Natures, you want to tank up eventually by getting the Satanic, but it's not really feasible in a game against the Doom or really against the Decrep. So he's kind of limited in those tankability options. It is mostly just the BKB he's relying on, which maybe in a very, very, very good Prophet game, you might even want to skip the BKB for a much longer portion than he has had to. And Malin does at least finish a Scythe, but it's kind of just doubling down. And ooh, Echo Slam instantly onto Mr. Morrow. That is certainly enough damage to bring him down with Violent there. Oof.
That is a whole lot of hate. By the way, though, I've been having a lot of fun looking at the Dota Plus chart. When it just really likes 4 Pirates draft, I think, because we are, what are we, 13,000 net worth in the lead for Liga team right now. And you want to know what the Dota Plus win chance is?
I checked it, but you can spoil it for me.
It's like 54%. It was 50-50 when it was 11,000. It is just, it really does believe in the power of this Leshrac and the Tiny and the Bat Rider and this Nature's Prophet to eventually do what they need to do to win the game. I'm not sure that I agree. This feels like a very difficult game for Odeker to do the damage that he has to. So for now, pressure on the high ground. Primal Beast dead for 34. So Odeker moves in, but that's a Force Staff now on cooldown. Half the damage already gone from the range poke of the Shaker. But Perdanic looks for a toss back, doesn't find it though. Creep spawn right at the wrong time, but now Bat Rider goes and gets on top of the Doom. Looks for the damage there. He's gonna fall down. 100 seconds on the deck. Did not have the Aegis. And Erase moves in a little bit more. It will be a dead Perdanic, but you're kind of okay with that. The Doom is dead. Big bad carry now on the deck, and Primal Beast up in 4 seconds. They got the tier 3. But I don't think you stick around for Rax here. Not without this Doom.
No, certainly not. I mean, the high ground is going to definitely be the ultimate test here for Liga, because the 4 Pirates draft, it's pretty good on the high ground. Just so many different ways to catch you and reposition you. But Malin, wow, he is just a little bit too far up. Maybe not expecting them to stick around the way that they did.
And now
definitely lose that repositioning tool quite a bit now that Perdanic is down. Got to wait about 20 seconds. Sprout buys a few seconds.
And now no creeps for the time being until it is. We're waiting on Bat Rider. Still has Lasso once again as Mr. Morrow's going to show up here. But that's just a wasted BKB now as he runs, gets stunned up. Chains are going to follow up here most likely. Well, maybe not for the time being, but he's just trying to poke away. He is a beefy boy, but it looks like they will lose the set of racks here. Perdanic now back up. But Erase just runs away. No, especially with his Lincolns that they keep putting on him. Just not enough lockdown. They're very hard to stay on top of him, especially through this Aegis.
Yeah, I mean, Corrupted is doing a really nice job with this Lincolns. He's been very on top of just keeping it on top of Erase. Kind of feels like Erase just has his own Lincolns at this point, to be frank. And they did both manage to get the Dazoon Blood right as well for Corrupted and for Erase, which feels very nice for them. Getting that extra AoE, if they needed any more, especially on Corrupted. Full Refresher bought out, by the way, for BPEX here.
Okay, here's my question. Rojo, when did Shaker get a 50% Echo Slam CDR talent?
It's been a good while actually.
Has it really?
He has had this one. Yeah, it used to be. I think at this 25. It might have been a flat cooldown.
I think it was a
actually
flat
remember his
cooldown.
previous. But yeah, it has been 50% for a little while now. All the midders, shakers.
Oh,
Malin
gets
jump in
go.
on.
Getting on top, blows up this Aegis immediate.
Best
Hellscream, no
kills.
save going to be available. Doom's TPing into this, looking to try to get on top of the second life as Erase just gets away for now. BKB forced, good Echo Slam on top of Prophet on the backside. And look at Malin getting evaporated here. And the Doom on the Prophet as well, just making life extremely difficult, kiting out of this fight as much as possible. Mortal's going to fall down as well, as is Perdanic. 4 dead. And now just trying to route Otakar a little bit further away, TPing in, looking for the chains. Not on cooldown. Not going to get him. Otakar stays alive, just barely. He gets out, but
I thought it was
TP back
really
into
good.
this? Well, he's got the shield,
I guess so.
Corrupted
is walking back.
Yeah, I don't like this. Is insane. There's the stuns from Corrupted. Otakar just fed his life away.
I suppose he thought that he could just get the wave. I don't know exactly what the thought process was there. He does have the buyback if he needs. Gonna get it on Perdanic first. That fight looked like it was gonna be really good for Pirates. It's just, I mean, Corrupted got so much there in terms of the CC and on the backside. They do, but it will be double rock dropped. The upheaval to give them a little bit of attack speed. Trying to end the game here.
Forcing all the buybacks, and now you got to be very careful with these fights. Is we're gonna start to see fire remnants all over the place as Otakar TP's in, gets himself a little bit of a shield, but it goes away immediately. Axeline backside on top of 2. Malin solo, he's dead. No buyback, and now it's just all on Otakar here. He's gonna have to buy back from the Primal with like 5 seconds remaining, and that's just not enough. Meanwhile, these golems just keep hitting the tower. They keep hitting the Ancient. Doesn't matter what happens in the rest of this. And for Pirates, from a very good early game, they lose their hold on things, and Liga comes storming back. That's a game 1 lead for Liga team here in this upper bracket.
Yeah, they did it very nice. I mean, Corrupted. Yeah, I don't know. His Earthshaker looked really good yesterday, but it looked incredible today. He did everything he needed to. I think, honestly, his linkage usage might have just won them the game flat out. I wouldn't even know if that's an exaggeration. I mean, that one of those last fights, he blocked Mr. Moral's second Pulverize coming out there. He really just had all the tools to deal with them. Only 2 deaths, 14, 2, and 14 here on Corrupted. I mean, yeah, he just did it all in the Earthshaker. Definitely my MVP for this game. But overall, I think Liga team did a really nice job of just staying in the game despite their tough early game. Did a good job of eventually kind of bringing all their heroes around to respond to 4 Pirates. And after a few poor engagements, they were really able to just kind of win every fight. It just felt like 4 Pirates ran out of steam. They didn't have any responses to Doom, which is really unfortunate. And this Nature's Prophet that we were used to being so strong, so OP, first pick. It seems like the nerfs have been slightly effective, and ultimately just in that game, Otakar really wasn't able to accomplish, I think, as much as he nearly would have wanted.
Yeah, I think Prophet is now at a point where if there are enough good answers to the Prophet, you can't pick it. Right. Like previous patch, like, oh great, you got an Ember and you got a Doom and you got a Shaker and you got a Pugner for saves. Who cares? He's gonna farm fast enough. He's gonna do enough damage that doesn't matter that you're diving on top of him. He's just gonna kill y'all. But now it does feel like if you have enough diving heroes, Prophet is not the free game that it might otherwise have been. By the way, just going back to Shaker, in top GPM, top CS, second most damage. Yeah, just dude, absolutely balled out. It's going to be interesting to see if they decide to ban the hero, which is not generally a hero that you ban in the second game. As we go to a bit of a break, when we're back, Liga team for Pirates, game number 2. Welcome back to game number 2 of Liga Team versus 4 Pirates, where Liga Team, this time they don't have first pick. This time they're going to have to react to what 4 Pirates does a little bit more. And if you're a 4 Pirates fan, that makes you pretty hopeful because game 1 started very nicely for them, Rojo, up until the point that it didn't.
Yeah, I mean, they kind of just ran out of damage eventually and kind of just got cooked by Corrupted's Earthshaker. So I wouldn't be surprised to see them get rid of it. They did get rid of the Doom themselves this time, just to make sure that that does not end up in the hands of Violent again, which, to be frank, I really don't feel that Violent, I mean, he did play well, but I don't think he like did too much on the Doom. Probably, I guess it's just the concept of the Doom. 4 Pirates did not really like playing around it, and it ended up kind of just messing with them in most of their fights. To get rid of it, maybe just for ease of execution, they have a third ban themselves to come out. Obviously, it's Dawnbreaker. It's going to be gone for Liga Team. Going to ban that one out. Pretty standard bans. Puck is in right now, which is the hero that was banned very, very early last time. Maybe we'll see that hero in this game.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting, right? Because you ban Doom, which is a decent, if you can get on top of the puck, right? Dooming the puck is fantastic. That might tell us that they're looking to kind of early phase the puck. It's good hero overall. I mean, we talk about how even with the paltry nerfs that Puck has gotten, Puck is, I don't know if it's the best hero in the game, Rojo. It's up there. It's like top 5. So I would not mind seeing them go and put Malin on the puck and see what he can do if that's what they decide to go for. But they're actually taking a little bit of time on this last pick, trying to see if they can go, and it's just going to be the puck ban instead. Beastmaster on the first pick.
I can be happy with this. I think Beastmaster is quite strong. So just seeing it in especially a team that is very flexible with it, I think makes plenty of sense. Mr. Morrill definitely looks good on this hero when he has played it, and obviously taking it away from Liga Team, it's just good. Beastmaster is just good. I think I would value it as a first pick hero. This does mean that Liga Team has the capability to bring back this Earthshaker if they want, and they do. Corrupted, I mean, he just played so well on it, so why not run it back? You can still flex it. It's not like this isn't a versatile hero, and obviously against the summons, Earthshaker can do even a little bit more in that case if you can just catch Beastmaster alone in the lane with all of his summons. Should be nice for them. I do think Liga Team is probably very happy, but for 4 Pirates, Beastmaster is Beastmaster. Helps you take all your objectives. Very flexible hero. Trying to see maybe if they have a different hero. Maybe there's something you can bring out, like a silence here, maybe to on either team. I'm not sure. Still Pugna in the pool. Curious to see what they pick up, especially for the supports to pair with these.
Yeah, it's always interesting, like having some sort of combo breaker, especially with the Shaker, who's going to go in and is going to dump a lot of damage, but part of the value that Shaker provides is not just the first damage. It's when you can go in and you chain everything together, eventually, obviously get a refresher, but if you can go in and like pop a global off of the Shaker ultimate. So Echo goes in, pop the global, that buys time for some repositioning, and that can always work out pretty nicely. A little interesting, yeah.
Monkey King as well does pretty well against that. Just put him in the Wukongs if he's ever out of position with the projection. Makes perfect sense. Erase did play very, very well on the Monkey King yesterday, so I am happy to see him have this hero. Again, almost surprised that it made it through the pool, but 4 Pirates have just felt that there is so much to ban a Liga team that they decided to get rid of other things instead, leave the Monkey King through. Now they have probably their next support pick here. Actually not sure what Liga team would want to pick up for the support. Maybe they could keep it open with the Earthshaker, but I feel like you're perfectly happy just going for something that's maybe a little disruptive, annoying, maybe a Spirit Vessel hero, but they go for Zeus instead, which is quite interesting.
It is really nice to be able to go just get eyes on this Dazzle. Every fight, you just pop the ultimate, you know where the Dazzle is, Shaker can blink on the Dazzle, which is useful because this Dazzle has the potential, and we've been seeing it, there's a reason it's often first pick, first banned. We've been seeing a lot of this, you just run out of damage. Like Dazzle has this incredible ability of just breaking games with the massive healing amp on Shallow Grave and the bonus 250 HP that you get back when you're a novel projection, or might even be more. It's once the Dazzle is on it like a holy locket, it just becomes so very hard to secure these kills.
Yeah, you have to have ways to deal with the Dazzle, which typically is really just jumping him, forcing him to grave himself, having any kind of way to deal with that Nothal projection. Sometimes you can kite it out, but yeah, the healing is far too much. And the 4 Pirate sustain is very, very strong. But so far, I actually think Liga does have decent responses to the kind of OP draft that 4 Pirates has made for themselves. These are very, very strong heroes on the side of 4 Pirates, but Monkey King is at least decent into, I think, all these heroes. The Storm probably the least now that they picked it up on the 18, but very good Wukong's game, assuming that you don't for some reason get thrown out of it. But overall, these heroes don't like walking into the Wukongs. You have good damage with the Fatal Bonds, and then just as much magic damage as you could possibly throw into it. That's the other thing that I think is maybe interesting about the Zeus is the team fight, just the burst between an Earthshaker Warlock Zeus sounds pretty heavy. Maybe that's enough to kind of deal with the Dazzle in a way. Again, as you mentioned as well, the Zeus vision is very, very handy against the hero as well.
This is like such an obvious Beastmaster pipe game though. Like,
yeah, but at least for that you do have the Monkey King at least, and I'm assuming that Liga team on their last pick coming up will address that at least a little bit.
Yeah, it's kind of, you're looking for something more physical damage. Do you think this is a mid monkey or like a safe lane monkey?
Probably mid. I think, I mean, Erase played it both games that they played it last time.
Okay.
And I don't really see any reason that you would need it to be safe lane, because it's fine into Storm mid. It's a pretty whatever matchup, very skill matchup. And I think it wants to rotate a little bit. Erase was pretty active on the Monkey King last time. I think these are good heroes to rotate onto. Obviously, the Beastmaster is a hero that prefers to go kind of one-on-one in lanes. They do bend the Gyro, which I think is quite obvious. Would have made the pipe more value, but you just don't want to lane into that as Beastmaster. Now they have their final pick coming up for 4 Pirates. I feel like it probably is just Otakar. Well, actually, it probably is a support. I would actually hope for this to be the Marcy 1. It's still a pretty good Marcy 1 game. Maybe you can argue that just some really tanky hero, maybe an Ursa is good here, but I'm not sure that I fully believe in that. If Wraith King was good, it'd be a decent Wraith King game. Just on the concept of not being bursted, but it's a pretty wishy-washy hero.
Is this it feels like it might be like, is this a better Prophet game? But there's the Rubik. You got some really good spells to steal. You know, you can, Fissure is grade S plus tier on this Rubik. So question now is whether you can survive the lanes because Rubik, you know, good steal, sure, but is not a hero before level 6.
Yeah, the Rubik we don't see it very often for a reason. It is quite a good Rubik game, so I don't blame them for this. Maybe I would have preferred something like a Shadow Demon or something. But I think picking up a support, having Otakar and the Marcy, makes me perfectly confident in their draft. Now, Liga team goes straight away into it, and it's a PL. Ooh. It's a pretty juicy PL game. It's a pretty good PL game.
What exactly What exactly does AoE damage?
I would maybe Mr. Moral can switch to an Ag Shiva's build. I wouldn't hate that. Just to address the PL. Maybe maybe you can go for a Battle Fury on the Marcy if you have a really strong game. That definitely doesn't feel like enough, but maybe it helps. Pretty hard. I do like this PL quite a bit. I've seen PL a little bit rise more since his buff, since his Ag's changed. Has pretty decent damage with the Lancelot. So I think this hero is kind of on the up already, and I think this is obviously a very, very good PL game. So I probably would actually give the benefit towards Liga team just based off that last pick for Violent. Also based off a little bit of confidence in Abrace's Monkey King and Corrupted Earthshaker. Just feel like they looked very, very good in all the games I've seen on them. So I do give the benefit to Liga team here, but there's always a chance, I think, that Marcy, Beastmaster, Dazzle are just kind of too strong number-wise to fight in the early portion of the game.
Yeah, so I was gonna. It looks like that he has Lancelot as the fastest selected right now, which just means that you get an additional 25% damage from the Spirit Lance when from every illusion. So it means that these Spirit Lances can actually just really chunk hard. Is that the fast that you're seeing people? So I don't know a lot about Phantom Lancer right now. I'm not really seeing it a lot in my games. When I am, it's kind of losing. Are we? So it's Lancelot, or where does the Ags fit into this? How is Phantom Lancer building in 2025?
Prepare for battle.
From my understanding, I think the Ags is slightly more of like a luxury. I don't think you have to get it. It's very strong. But the hero, I think, is just good in general. The Lancelot is really nice for the added damage. I do think that is the more standard facet. But mostly you're still just going kind of the same items. Definitely Manta, eventually definitely the Diffusal. Sometimes I think players are leaving the Diffusal for a little longer than you used to see, which I think makes sense. Pretty standard PL. I think the Ags is usually like a second or third item. And by that point, mostly I think part of the strength as well for the Ags is that it just increases your rush distance, which long ago when PL was a very, very strong hero. Part of the reason why is because he had a really strong talent, which was extra rush distance. And that really kind of pushed him over the edge. I think it was level 20 or level 15. So being able to get that on the Ags eventually, I think really helps him. It's just, yeah, I mean, it just feels like the hero has gotten enough solid buffs to where it's kind of slowly popping up. The hero number-wise is just way too weak for a while, and they've been trying to progressively make the hero feel playable, and I think they finally reached a good spot with it. And I think in a game like this, I think Violent has a pretty good opportunity to just become the end-all, be-all.
Well, now, especially if he finds himself Mr. Moral as well, there's going to be the Blood Grenade, Spirit Lance as well, slowing him down that much more. Body blocking with the Spirit Lance illusion. Very well done. And that should be it. First Blood to Hellscream. It's going to be on your Zeus. It's not going to be on top of this Phantom Lancer, which is what you would really like to have. But even still, they take down Moral early. They get themselves 2 bounty runes on top of it. And anything you can do to get this Phantom Lancer off to a good start is fantastic. Because while he is better than he has been in quite a while, while I don't really see good solutions to this hero from the side of Fort Pirates for the most part, he is still one of these heroes that needs like 20 minutes to come online. He's not a Lifestealer with Gore Storm and level 6 and making rotations. He is very much a hero that needs time to be able to be that carry.
Yeah, he's definitely not, PL, regardless of how many buffs he gets, is still not very useful for quite a while before he gets the items. I think he'll be fine with that on Liga team. I think they've got plenty of playmaking on their own, but again, it's Earthshaker PL. Maybe that can be side lanes that are quite scary. Corrupt has already taken a ton of damage in the top lane himself, even Hellscream. First blood was nice for him, but he had to use most of his mana, had to use the TP. So it's going to be decent. Mostly, I think we're looking at Otakar here to potentially set some decent pace. Actually, I think on the Marcy, I think that he has probably the most chance out of anyone on 4 Pirates to really make something of this game and kind of shut down side of Liga team before they get to their items, because once they get to their items, I think they really are quite terrifying.
Yeah, so taking a look at this safe lane, this offlane for Liga team, Hellscream, it's going to take him a while to get there, obviously, but he's got an Atos queued up as his kind of first actual item off the boots, and really off of the boots here. For now, Hellscream is playing Ring Around the Rosie. Poison Touch is not going to go and is not going to get reapplied, so Verdanic not going to be able to get the kill there. But Atos on the Yules in this game, or on the Zeus in this game.
It's probably just a response to the Storm. It's a pretty okay Storm game when they picked it. Not a lot of straight away stuns other than the Echo Slam. Lots of things to dodge for Melon, some pretty telegraphed stuns. Good heroes to jump on top of. So he's, I think Malin is also going to have pretty big responsibility kind of once he gets to this level 6. He'll be making stuff happen around the map for Liga team, and maybe that's enough of a reason for Hellscream to think I need a response to that. Go for the Atos to try and deal with it. We'll see if he changes his mind at all. Ariel so far is getting beat up, as is tradition with the Rubik. This hero, as useless as PL sometimes can be in lane, I feel like Rubik is actually maybe even beating him out in that one. Rubik is in a tough spot, Bayo. It's very sad to see. It's very sad to admit, but this hero just does not do a whole lot. Truthfully.
Right, so here's my question: on the balance of heroes that are just really bad at laning, you have Rubik and you have Pudge when he's on your team. Who is more useless?
Well, Pudge on your team is usually helping the enemy team, so I would say. Sometimes he's not even there. So probably Pudge on your team is far outweighing that. But it's much closer than you'd like it to be. I think Rubik is just, he's received a number of nerfs over the years. His kit has been changed at least a little bit. Now it's really only if somebody massively oversteps and you get a really nice telekinesis, maybe a blood grenade to play with. The top lane, a lot of fighting.
Yeah, good amount of damage here going on top of Corrupted. Verdanic, though, gets jumped on a little bit more. Hellscream just punches in so much damage. And that was not even a full stick. I guess Corrupted was past a Lotus. He had no HP, then he had a little bit more. Oh. That bought enough damage, so that's a problem. And on the bottom side, looks like we got some more kills. Mr. Moral trying to go kill BPEX. I don't know how well that's going to work out. They're going to try, but under tower, man.
Has stick.
Yeah, this is not worth it. Wrong direction. And Mr. Moral's going to go get... You can't be giving PLs kills like this.
No, that was far too over-aggressive. Very nice branch play. Just to push it over the edge there, but still too far aggressive. Also interesting as well that, not super interesting. Obviously, we see Wild Hunt and Dominator as the more dominant way to play the Beastmaster, but I think maybe in this game it would be worth it to go for kind of Ag's Shiva's build. I don't know. You do want the pipe and maybe the Crimson, and maybe that pushes it over the edge for the Wild Hunt, but the auras in terms of dealing with Liga team, I just don't know if they'll care. I don't know if that's going to make the difference that they want it to. So I'm almost a bit surprised that it's not the other facet, and the Ags and a lot of damage in the bot lane using that Lancelot to its full extent. Just nice to get that extra, if you pop the Doppelganger beforehand, it's just 50% more damage on your Spirit Lance. Definitely meaningful if you have the Fatal Bonds down as well. So far, a very, very, very good start for Violent.
That's kind of what's unfortunate about this, right? Because Beastmaster can be a very strong laner, but you do want to have some level of follow-up. As a Corrupted here playing around with Malin. I don't know why Malin is he's just not having that great of a lane into the Monkey King, and now Monkey King is here too. Malin's only level 5. Wukong's command goes down as he tries to run on out of here, but not enough damage. So Malin's not really going to be able to mess with the lane shenanigans coming out of this Shaker, but he's been forced out of his lane for quite a while now. He is already here down about 7 CS, a couple denies as well. And yeah, just jungle Storm Spirit. He's not allowed to play the game certainly not having the game that he had in game 1.
Yeah, definitely not. Sometimes the Storm, this is just the reality. You realize, supports are coming mid. Not really your time yet in the game. You got to wait for level 6 before you can really show your face. And it is interesting that Corrupted is kind of just resigned to going towards the mid lane. He's going to try and get this tower. Fnatic shows up just to be obnoxious. Also kind of interesting this game that it is Verdanic here on the Dazzle. I think he is just the more comfortable player on that hero, so he goes ahead and takes it up into the 5 position. It is going to be interesting to see what Ariel can do around the time that he gets to level 6, but that's pretty far away, and they're looking to deny it by walking into this Wisdom Shrine. No Wukong's command for the moment, so they're going to fight this on 4 Pirates.
You're going to lift him out of here as well. Telekinesis is a thing. Verdanic's going to show up, getting on top of Hellscream. Good stun, and now a race. He's got Jingle. That's going to be a great Boundless, and it's just going to kill off 2 Violence Air as well. It was looking solid. I'm like, oh, okay. This looks pretty good for 4 Pirates. They get the kill early. They get the stun. And then you just get a massive level 2 Boundless with level 3 Jingu on top. And it's just like, yeah, we all died. Not great.
I mean, really, really bad, actually, because now we're looking at Beatbex here, who has the 6 stacks of the Black Grimoire so far, level 5.5, because he did get the Wisdom Shrine. They're looking at Ariel even as well. Maybe they can just kill him here, drop the rock, because why the hell not? Did eat the Black Grimoire to be level 7. So currently we have a position 5 as the highest level in the game. At least the most amount of XP uses that column to rack up the tower. Very, very rich on this Warlock. Hellscream in the mid lane. Maybe they can punish him at least. Doesn't have the jump.
Yep, they're going to be able to take him down. There we go, Malin. Gotta be careful. He pops the Soul Ring because he needs a little bit more mana there, but he's got haste ring. He's going to be fine. But man, he went down to like 30% HP, and it's like, Monkey King's running at you, dude. Got to be careful. We've also hit this point now. Phantom Lancer is level 6, almost has a Yasha, and we're kind of hitting the point here where 1v1, this PL is going to be able to bully a lot of heroes out of lane.
Yeah, I mean, so far he's done it very, very well to Mr. Moral. Still just sticking around in this bot side, which is not a great sign. The PL can just play so deep on the side of the map. Jump onto Corrupted.
Oh, there's going to be the stun. Oh, Shallow Grave's going to be there, but you're going to lose the Helm Dom creep, and Odeker just dies. That was set up. Monkey King was just sitting there because they knew that they were going to try to go kill off Corrupted. It was kind of telegraphed. So now we're looking at 9-2, 3,000 net worth lead, 63 CS at the 9-minute mark for this PL. And Mr. Moral is going to die under his tier 2 to this Phantom Lancer. He's going to try to teleport on out of here. Telekinesis will be able to trade it at the very least. PL is going to die in exchange, but that's just kind of how this game is going.
Yeah, I think you will truthfully take that for Pirates. But it doesn't feel good, you know, trading that your Beastmaster who's level 5 without a Dominator and Odeker is getting chased down. And Lotus.
Hellscream.
Not enough. Oh, it is enough. I think that was like just below the threshold for that lightning bolt damage there.
Oh, dodges the Echo Slam. So B-Pix should fall here. Malin, though, not enough mana to get corrupted. 20 seconds left on the Soul Ring. So they're getting these exchanges, but it's like, oh, you know, I lost my carry, and now I'm going to probably not lose the Storm Spirit, I don't think, but Primal Spring goes down. Any more stuns. Nice job there from Ariel as Malin continues to try to run away from this. He's got a Soul Ring in 2. He's out, but Ariel's going to be the one that falls down in exchange, and they just swarm. I mean, they're diving under their tier 2 when the tier 1 is still up, and you're just not having, the rotations are not where 4 Pirates need them to be.
Yeah, and you really wouldn't want Liga team to be in a position like this. I mean, I would typically think that by 10 minutes, their lineup would be the one that's kind of sitting back. You know, maybe PL died once by accident, or, you know, I guess he has kind of, but, you know, maybe he had a tougher lane. He's kind of resigned to the jungle. No, he's diving your tier 2s. This Earthshaker that's supposed to be kind of useless in lane and before his blink. He's walking into your tier 2. Erase is definitely facilitating a lot of this as he's now hitting his Diffusal, full level 9 on this Monkey King. It's a very, very scary game state for 4 Pirates because I really think ideally with the way their early draft went, that they'd want to be the ones, you know, playing this way themselves, but just haven't been able to do it. Erase takes a little bit of damage.
They're going to try to take him down. There's the Hex. Off of the Null, the projection of the rock goes and counters everything with the Shadow Word as well. Erase is just not taking damage. Yeah, Zeusol goes down here as well. Now here comes Odeker. They're going to try. There they go. Okay, Warlock will fall. They're going to get the Golem down as well. Extra 100 gold. That's something. But Erase, a little bit of stun, buy some time. As you see this tier 1 get assaulted here, talking about this violent Phantom Lancer, something in the back of my head says that he had some insane, like back on his VP days, he had some incredible Phantom Lancer performances back when the hero was last playable.
Yeah, I think he probably did. I think he is just a PL player in general. So that instills even more confidence. I would say that this is just something that he enjoys. Naturally, I think he's probably quite happy that PL is coming back into the zeitgeist, at least a little bit, to be kind of playable. And regardless of how many kills they are getting back on 4 Pirates, it is helping them kind of stay in the game. It definitely feels like this is not a position they were ever meant to be in. And Corrupted, he does go ahead. I think he actually went and Echo Slammed the stacks again. That's really how they like to play with this Earthshaker. It's just get a huge amount of stacks in the triangle, eventually Echo Slam it. Now has his Blink. No Echo Slam to go along with it, but he is level 10, perfectly happy on Corrupted. And we've seen how much he can do on the Earthshaker in the last 2 games, or the last 2 of the 3 games yesterday for Liga team as well. Erase had really, really good Monkey King performances. So I'm feeling really, really good for Liga here. Just have to make sure that they don't, kind of get caught off by these one-off smokes and movements by 4 Pirates. But so far, they're doing a great job at that.
For now, though, smoke on to Corrupted, finding him, but not going to get the stun. There's the dispose. Aerial is here, level 7, so just trying to see if you can get the fissure. That's the goal. But for now, Corrupted does seem to be the one that is...
Blink?
Oh, wait, no, buys the time for the blink on the bottom side. That's the fight that you actually should be looking at. 2 dead already. Hellscream doesn't fall, and Storm Spirit just has to get on out of here. And by the way, Corrupted, he got out as well. So the gank on the north side gets just about nothing. Bottom side gets 2. And goes from bad to worse here. Marcy's looking at getting an armlet. That's kind of the next item is maybe they're trying to see if they can re-smoke on this 14-minute timing.
They still lost their wisdom shrine regardless.
Yeah, there's going to be the Zeus ult as well. Lets everyone know where the smoke is. And Odeker now looking for his engage. Dispose on to the PL. Can they get him down? Not with a rock. Absolutely no! Absolutely not there. The Fatal Bonds is just doing ridiculous damage. And goodbye, Aerial, as well. It's 10K at 14 minutes. We didn't like the draft. And it's just going from bad to worse, man.
It's going from worst to worst, I think, so far. It is, yeah, this is the complete opposite of what you want to be happening on 4 Pirates. They look a little bit kind of disconnected, but it's, yeah, this is just a Liga team draft that, again, has overwhelming magic damage and this insane win condition in the PL, who already has a Manta style, by the way. I think he's had it about for a minute or 2 now. Level 11 on Violent. This game is very hard because this is, we have seen some pretty crazy comebacks, Bayo. When I was casting Clavision, I saw some really obscene, like 20K, gold lead throws and whatnot, but I'm not sure this game is leaning that kind of way. Particularly, I mean, it's just Violent on this PL. We were saying if he can get his items, if he can survive the early portion of the game, then, he should have a very free PL game. I think he's done a little bit more than just survive.
Yeah, I believe that the term is thriving, and Hellscream is going to get out of this gank too, I think. There's no blink on anyone. So you had the gank attempt, trying to at least kill the Zeus, at least kill this little godlet, but not going to get that either. And now you talk about these comeback potentials, or these comeback games, right? In those games, you could see something like, okay, great, we have really good team fight. Yeah, we have a Doom, and we can Doom off the Storm Spirit or whatever. Like, there is something that you can kind of hinge your game around making the comeback. I look at 4 Pirates draft, and this is a draft that is supposed to be playing from ahead. This is not anything where there's like a really big, I'm not even sure there's a really big steal. Maybe like a crazy Echo Slam steal.
Yeah, that could do it. I don't think Corrupted's almost ever going to give it away unless he's already pretty much on top of Aerial. Which does bring me to the point that I think we're both a little bit aware that the Rubik looks kind of useless. as Rubik kind of tends to. And I don't think Ariel is playing it poorly by any means, and they are going to go on to Odeker here, so that position 1 is not going to last very long up against the 4 heroes. I was kind of wondering if they're going to turn this into a Tormentor kill, because it feels like it's getting towards that 20 minutes, only 17. TP bot lane to get Mr. Moral. And clean up his Dominator creep as well, just for insult to injury. So everywhere they go, they get a kill on Liga team. It just feels inevitable. Map is getting hard, very, very small. I do appreciate the 4 pirates are willing to kind of make something happen. They're willing to kind of die to force something. But that's not exactly where you want to be typically. And Ariel, not much happening this time around. With
Ariel, yeah, I mean, it's a Rubik versus a Phantom Lancer. It's, I don't know, maybe Bane, Shadow Shaman, but Rubik is one of those heroes. Like, what are you gonna do when you have a Zoo running it, when you have a bunch of illusions running at you? As Violent gets on top of the Storm Spirit, he's gonna have to zip on out of here, but no mana remaining. Odeker trying to fight Hellscream, will be able to do so, and the splash damage there on your ultimate do a little bit to Violence. He continues to fight down. There's the shallow grave, but I mean, maybe Violet's not gonna get the stun off. Looking for a dash away, comes back in, but no, not gonna be enough here. And this just shows how far ahead he is. In any normal game, I think that works. But this PL sitting here level 13. He's got himself a Crystallis on top of everything else, going Ags next. He is so farmed that even what might have been a good fight, and it's not 5,000 net worth lead, you probably get the kill. Unfortunately, it just happens to be double that.
Yeah, it's it is bad. No sugarcoating it, and I actually really like this Crystallis by Violent. Very, very interesting. But I'm obviously, or the PL innate is that you turn all bonus damage into base damage. That way your illusions can kind of utilize it. So it's kind of cheeky, the Crystallis, and they're going to get onto Mr. Moral. Echo Slam just to be mean, I guess. Doesn't feel necessary. Hellscream, by the way, also bought his shard, the Lightning Hands, so he's pretty good at farming himself. Engagement in the mid lane. Steals the rock.
They're going to get B-picks. That's 700 gold and something. Odeker,
maybe get a race.
Gets him out of the Wukongs. There we go.
Malin.
But oh man, big primal, and there's Corrupted showing up as well. So even when they get something, it's not nearly enough here. So Corrupted blinking 7, trying to see if he can chase this Odeker down. He's gonna try.
I think he'll miss actually. Nice movement by Odeker. Going down there, just a consolation. He did have to go for that armlet that he had queued up. Just, I guess, probably just assuming that they need every little ounce of oomph that they can get. Definitely is correct about that, as the game is very much falling out of their hands. Odeker is looking at Violent.
Well, I guess the stun on him, decent damage, but you just don't have enough. Hear me out here, Rojo. Maelstrom Marcy.
Not quite, I think. They did also remove the bonus damage to illusions, unfortunately, so...
Well, they didn't remove it, they just nerfed it a little bit, right?
I think they removed it, the bonus damage to illusions, yeah. In any sense, Mr. Moral's getting removed from the game. It is an amplified damage, though, for Odeker. Maybe he can get corrupted. Definitely a trade that you will take. Mr. Moral's probably not too happy about it, but he, as a champ, I'm sure will take it. Get Odeker a little extra gold in his pocket.
Tell me, is it moral to kill a Beastmaster 8 times?
I mean, probably. I hate Beastmaster personally, so I would say that that's a pretty good thing to do for the world. Always need to be humble.
Oh no!
The Beastmaster.
Oh no! B-picks.
And
fatal bonds.
Fatal bonds. Oh, he's caught.
He actually
he's so tanky.
How is he? What? Okay, he's gonna die. Man, imagine needing a rock there, but you just can't take the Tormentor anymore. And here comes the Zeus, here comes the rest of them. Oh, no, Violent gets on top of the Marcy immediately. No BKB, nothing. He just dies.
No save.
Nothing available, and now they're going to get on Ariel on the backside. Zeus just kind of soloing that one. Has a stun. There we go. You're not going to get on out of there. And on the backside, Malin totally out of mana with Violent and Erase. They're going to take him down as well. So B-Pix does die, but that is probably just about the most valuable death you can ever find as a position 5.
Yeah, and he completely stops him from taking the Tormentor. Violent now has he's level 16, and he does have the Aghanim Scepter as well. So he's extremely, extremely strong. 14k net worth, 22 minutes here. They will take the Tormentor eventually. They get some heroes rallied around them. I am starting to wonder, Corrupted, Verdanic dies on the map, and Corrupted Echo slams the ground. So big things happening for Liga team. Just feels like everywhere you look, there's a 4 Pirates hero dying. It's, by the way, you know, I know that it's felt like a lot of kills. Violent somehow gets the shard on PL. I guess they've just bought that many on Liga team.
You
As
buy,
if you needed 1400 extra net worth.
Hear me out. You buy the shard on Hellscream strictly so your PL can get his shard.
It's 5D chess. They are really, really working them on 4 Pirates. And it was what I was getting into is that it's by the way 31 kills in 22 minutes. That's a pretty good number, I would say, for Liga team. And again, their ultimate win condition just got a shard for free. I guess insult to injury.
It's a really good shard too. It's a free Shadow Blade in the middle of fights. You just go invisible. There's another illusion that shows up, and it's already hard enough to find the real PL in these late game scenarios, and then it's like, oh yeah, I'm disappearing for like 8 seconds, and I'm moving faster, and oh yeah, the thing you were hitting, it's now an illusion. Have fun. So we're gonna see a move into the Roshan pit now. It's not scary at all. Yeah.
Usually PL is not very good at doing rush. Aerial, run. Do not get
into the water.
In a Tumbler's boy. Does not want anything to do with any hero on the Liga team. They're going to get this Rosh for free. Erase keeps turning into the Roshan. I think they're having a pretty fun time here on Liga team. Don't want to get too cocky, of course, but I'm not sure there's such a thing in a game like this because it is just objective after objective, kill after kill. They should start beating down on towers soon. Typically, that's kind of the thing that PL doesn't do for quite a long time. But now that he's at this Ags Manta Revenant Brute, should be comfortable enough to start beating on these.
Oh, by the way, Rojo, you were correct on the Maelstrom as Ariel just gets chunked. Good. Well, there we go.
Okay.
Gotta wait.
He was so far away, by the way, from Violent. Still just ends up going down. Can't really run away from this Ags PL.
Man, were you one of those people, Rojo, that was talking about how you're kind of sad that PL isn't a viable hero? Like before?
Maybe. I kind of do like PL. He is a bit of a guilty pleasure hero for me. Even though I'm not a one position player, I think he's fun, but I think that it's nice when he at least is viable in any sense, because he was so bad, Bayo.
You know, I enjoy playing PL, but as a guy who really hates it when PL's meta because I don't like playing against PL at all, I was kind of okay with him being just totally in the dumpster. So in fairness, there's like an ideal PL game. It's hard to think of a better one. Maybe if there's like a Bane as the other support or something, I don't know, but it just you blow if there are not good enough AoE counters, especially now that the Maelstrom doesn't do anything, right? There we go. Goodbye, Mercy. We're gonna find him as well as they're pushing racks. Yeah, when you have a hero like this, that if you don't have good answers in the draft, it just like feels like it's impossible. I don't know. Feels a little bit. Yeah, it doesn't feel great.
Yeah, it's definitely a lot stronger than it was. I think the Maelstrom one helped it a decent bit because obviously the typical counter was just going for that Mjolnir, going for the Maelstrom. And I think it was already, once he got that Ags buff, I think it was already kind of coming into the cusp of being pretty strong. He's got an Orchid for himself as well, just because why the hell not? Very, very good game for Violent. And yeah, this is kind of just an inevitable choking out of 4 Pirates. They're obviously pretty good as well on Liga at finding them. Erase is the perfect hero to get on top of Malin. Zeus Vision is pretty oppressive from this far ahead, considering that Hellscream, by the way, has Rod of Atos Ags working towards an Octarine. So he's
lightning hands.
By the way, richer than quite literally everybody on the side of 4 Pirates.
He's as rich as Corrupted.
Yeah.
And the Monkey King.
He did get first blood, Bayo. They knew who the true carry was.
That's what it is. The first blood, that's what made the difference. Yeah, I got you, Rojo. I understand.
First blood is
Nothing
what really
else.
tipped the scales in this game.
Yeah, I mean, this was just very much of an Dota Plus gave it like 60-40 off the draft. I'd say it's even higher than that. If PL was allowed to have a game at all, we were always going to hit this point. It felt like, you know, you go, it's like, okay, how do we kill the PL illusions? We don't. It is nice that, especially in a game like this, PL is so unafraid of the damage that he's going to take that he doesn't need to get any sort of tanky items. He's just running in. He's got 90 seconds on the Aegis. He's got himself an Orchid. That's fun. And hey, he's got his shard as well. So now he can go invisible if he needs to. And now Marcy's going to try to dive in. Here comes the storm as well, but the Atos is there, just really controlling things. And Violent now in corrupted. Massive Echo. Odeker goes down to about 10%. And Violent continues to run. There's the Orchid. Goodbye, Storm. Violent's godlike. And this set of racks is going to fall down. Everyone has to run tail between their legs back into the fountain because they are just all very, very low. And Violent continues. He was like, yeah, great. Fatal Bonds is here. Let me fight. I still have time on my Aegis. And the Monkey King Wukong goes in that much more. Yeah, it's all dead. It's all gone. Odeker in the fountain will barely survive. Violent wants him, though. Not going to find it. Not quite. Well, he's going to go in once again, but he's got illusions. He's invisible.
Yeah, Liga team wants it.
they really do.
I mean, they just, yeah, they played incredibly well, but as you said, it was just a pretty heavy outdraft. And, you know, typically when I would see this draft, I would definitely think, you know, definitely favored PL, pretty much a free game. As Ariel does call GG here, but the nameplates above the heroes as well, I think, are giving them a lot of benefit. It's Violent, PL, Corrupted, Earthshaker, Erase, Monkey King. These feel like they're really, really heavy hitters for Liga team in general. And I'm wondering if on 4 Pirates you're kicking yourself giving Corrupted this Earthshaker again. Maybe, you know, kicking yourself as well for that last pick PL. It just did not come together for them, unfortunately, for 4 Pirates. But I believe they just get sent to the lower bracket, right? So this isn't like end all be all for them, but Liga team, they came to play. Jesus.
Yeah, they're a little upset that game 1 was not as it was a little back and forth. They're like, no. We're gonna have a 10,000 net worth lead by 14 minutes. We're gonna again, we're gonna give ourselves a free PL game. Maybe there were some itemization things you could do, but again, with Maelstrom no longer being as much of an answer as it used to be, Battle Fury, it can be kind of. It's not great. You're looking at like maybe you go the other facet on Beastmaster. Instead of Wild Hunt, you get a Shivas. Maybe that's it. But it just feels when you have something like this, or like a Lycan in a good Lycan game, it feels very hard to itemize to clear all the stuff.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of those itemization tools are a 25 or 2,300 gold recipe on top of everything else, or just like it doesn't really do as much anymore. So it just feels very hard to do that.
I mean, it's also a lot easier, I think, to itemize to address that problem if you aren't 10,000 gold behind. But that I think that really cemented it. I think maybe there's honestly maybe some line where you end up going like Radiance Marcy or something if you're having a good game, but literally nothing went well in the game for Pirates. It just they had what the ending score here was 38-9. I feel like I barely even noticed the 9 kills that they got on 4 Pirates. It was pretty much just like, oh, Liga teams diving our tier 2s, and we ended up killing Hellscream 3 different times, or the 4 kills they got onto the Warlock this game. So it just didn't come up at all for 4 Pirates. Liga team does advance forward, but we do have another series coming up for you guys. So stick around here. We're going to take a short break before we head into that next one, and hopefully we get a little bit of a closer finish to that series there, Bayo.
Submarine versus Team Next Level. And Rojo, we were talking about this before the break. We have a hope. We have a dream. We get 3 games that we don't have a 10,000 net worth lead at 14 minutes and an uncountered PL. But I think in fairness, not a lot of teams are playing Phantom Lancer right now. So we're probably safe from that one a little bit.
I think Bottega actually on Yellow Submarine is a pretty big PL fan, so I wouldn't count it out. But maybe the 14K lead is a little bit less likely. But yeah, we are hoping for a little bit closer of a series. Although yesterday, Yellow Submarine had their own pretty one-sided series against OG. Again, it's hard to say as much if that was a really, really strong performance by Yellow Submarine, which they do look quite well. By the way, I mean, MRLS had a very, very good games into OG, but to be frank, OG did look a little bit discombobulated. I'm just kind of getting their feet together, standing on the ground a little bit, with no tail subbing in for them. But regardless, Yellow Submarine has always looked good when we've watched them. They have some inconsistencies. I would say Difference is a player that we watch where sometimes it looks like he's completely 1v9ing the game. He had an incredible Ember Spirit performance, and then sometimes he'll play something like the Lush Rack and he'll have more deaths than he does kills, and it's just a little bit of a consistency issue, I would say, specifically from the Yellow Submarine mid laner. Maybe it just depends on the day, but I'm hoping for big things from them. I think this is probably going to be a pretty close series because Team Next Level has also looked quite good. I think they've had some closer series as well.
It is also important to point out that Difference is new to the side of Yellow Submarine. Morelle was their mid for a while, but Yellow Submarine is functionally Spirit Junior. They're the academy team for Spirit. And with Laurel, apparently had some complications with the surgery is what I've heard. So he's out for, at least for Fissure, he might be out for longer. Hopefully not for TI, who knows. But they called Morelle up. They said, look, we got a mid. He's been playing in our system. He looks solid. He has been looking really good for Team Spirit. So no surprises there. But that did mean that Yellow Submarine had to go pull Difference in. So he's the sub. He's here. He's generally playing for 1 win. Or 1 move, excuse me. So you take a look at that. Maybe that explains some of the inconsistencies where you have this guy that just doesn't play with them as much. So yeah, sometimes he's gonna look great because he pops off, and sometimes he's not gonna look as solid because, well, he's not used to the team and something goes wrong.
Yeah, I mean, definitely he is. I think he fits still decently into Yellow Submarine in terms of their play style. So thankfully he hasn't done too much in terms of shaking things up. But definitely, yeah, the inconsistency part is still true even from his time on 1 move. We do see the support matchup here, Fernandes versus MRLS. Pretty similar stats overall. Fernandes boasting a slightly higher KDA win rate. But MRLS, pretty good player. He played the Shaman yesterday. I think he had a very, very nice performance. He kind of dismantled OG on his own. I think we ended up kind of handing him the MVP towards the end of the game just because he looked really, really good. So I'm thinking maybe that you might want to focus a little bit more on Team Next Level, actually, of maybe stopping him from getting some of his better heroes. I think he really enjoys the Muerta, actually. I don't know if he'll necessarily bring it out, but I know that he has looked good on that in the past. The Shadow Shaman, of course, he looked very strong in, which did get nerfed, but maybe not enough. So should be interesting to see how they draft around the supports.
Yeah, so now we got our draft here ready to go. And talk about that Shaman on the side of Team Next Level. I feel like that's a hero that hasn't really gotten a ton of, unless I'm forgetting some big nerf here, Rojo, hasn't really seen a ton of nerfs and just really does feel like it's kind of fallen out of the meta a little bit.
Yeah, I think it did. The big ward no longer does the killing Roshan on its own thing, which is a pretty relevant one. So it's just not quite as strong in that regard. But it has fallen off a decent bit. I think people think that it probably has about the same value as maybe a lion, which I've seen people actually start to pick up a little bit more. Very similar, obviously, in terms of being the Hex hero. So I think it's fair, but I still think it is strong. I think there's no reason to underrate it. Maybe this is one of those things where a hero gets nerfed, and then people are like, oh man, it doesn't one-shot Roshan as a support anymore. It's so weak. And then, in a month or two, we'll start seeing it picked up a little bit more regularly once they realize that, that wasn't always the value of Shadow Shaman. He's very good at keeping heroes in place. However, so I'll just have to see what the initial priority is. I'm not sure if either of these teams are super high priority on Silencer. I feel like that's been a very mixed bag as well in terms of people picking it up. There's no Dawnbreaker in, so you might not have to go for it first. They'll go for the Dazzle straight away on Team Next Level, not wasting any time, which I think we're pretty accustomed to.
Yeah, they got a good idea about what they want to do. Is you got Dazzle on one side, Pugna on the other. They don't do exactly the same thing. They do very, very similar things. It's the save support, it's the healing support. And now we have a very good question here, Rojo. Would you rather have a Pugna or a Dazzle on your team?
I think Dazzle probably 90% of the time, but that being said, at least Pugna is a little bit more flexible in terms of like laning. I would say that's probably the biggest benefit to it. But Dazzle, I think, is much better at doing what he does. Pugna is more of kind of like a little rat that runs around the map, kills your towers. He does some very annoying things, but I think Pugna's overall presence in the game is less warping than the likes of a Dazzle's, which now Yellow Submarine is in a position where they have to address this Dazzle. There's no draft on Earth that beats a Dazzle without directly addressing it in some way, unless you just completely run them over. But I think this is one of those heroes that you just cannot have go unanswered. You generally need anti-heal in some form, or just a way to completely jump it and kind of make it meaningless. Which the Zeus was pretty good at doing in the previous game, but I'm not quite sure you'd want to pair that up with the likes of a Pugna. Kind of a weird support duo there.
Yeah, what's kind of fun as well is Fernandes he's also a Dazzle player. So this is not one of those things where, sorry, not Fernandes, Norma, excuse me, is also a Dazzle player. So sometimes you're like, oh, this is just clearly a support Dazzle. Now, Team Next Level is one of these teams that will play it as a core as well. So it's not just a very strong hero. It is. But it's also a decent flex into this draft. And, maybe if you're first picking it, it's likely to be a support because there will be answers and you don't want to like dedicate core space to something that's going to get answered as much. But it does mean that this draft is going to be a little bit more opaque for Yellow Submarine going forward. It's kind of funny. At Team Next Level, they are just hard focusing. Really, I guess they're hard focusing all the cores. They're like, yep, goodbye Ember, goodbye Puck, goodbye Axe. I guess Abba's a flex, but talk about offlaners. They're just like, yeah, we really don't want difference to have a game, and we want Infernal's pool to get pretty poached as well.
Yeah, I think that's probably a decent read. I think between the Yellow Submarine supports, they have so much flexibility that they just wanted to leave some things open and leave some things open for themselves as well. Could be. Usually you would like to pick up something like an Oracle here. Maybe you go for something like a Silencer instead, but maybe you just want to keep that Dazzle, go for... Unfortunately, the Abaddon was banned out themselves, so they can't
Shadow
go that
Demon?
against these two heroes. Shadow Demon's okay. You do want a response to Batrider, I think, but maybe you just decide not to care. I do think the Dazzle Flex is nice. Sometimes, actually, when Dazzle is really countered, I think it's almost better in a core role, weirdly, because you don't have to rely very much on Malfa projection. That way you can actually build up to be tanky as compared to the support. You can go for the Naga Siren instead, which is still left in the pools, kind of surprisingly. I feel like some teams really highly value this Naga Siren, some teams really don't think of it much. But it is still a very, very strong hero. I even saw in yesterday games, I believe against Yellow Submarine, Shad ended up playing the carry Naga Siren, which, don't get me wrong, is still pretty bad compared to its support counterpart. But I do think it's viable. I think that the carry Naga Siren in the perfect game is perfectly playable. So maybe that flex is even slightly more annoying, all things considered.
Yeah, like
maybe
conceptually, a Naga Dazzle lane is not fun, right? You get a bunch of Naga illusions, you shadow word them all, and you're just like, oh, good, have fun, or shadow wave them all. Excuse me, you're just like, yeah, fun. That's just a massive physical nuke on top of the minus.
everybody around the Dusa, something that can enable that. I don't think you need to stress a ton about doing it. Maybe you can go for the offlane Pango if you want to have kind of a diffusal buyer. But I actually think in this draft, Yellow Submarine have good tools to kite the Medusa. They don't have damage for the Dusa, granted. But they have good ways to kill the heroes around the Dusa, and it's also not... Dusa doesn't really fit very much with the rest of Team Next Level's draft. It's good into Yellow Submarines, don't get me wrong. They have very little damage to pump into the Dusa, but it doesn't pair well with Dazzle for obvious reasons. The healing is completely lost on the hero. The Grave is pretty mediocre for what Dusa wants to do. August Siren does have to buy the Shard to get the mana back, so ultimately I think you are just looking to kill the heroes around Dusa. Maybe you want to aim for a hero that's slightly stronger in lane then, so that you can delay the Dusa's timing to where she can kind of become that 1v9 hero. But I'm still kind of just looking at, I feel like Centaur is good. Maybe it's just something that they don't want necessarily. I still think Primal is decent for them. And they will get one of them if they want either. I'm just thinking, something that's beefy, something that's going to be willing to buy auras, something that can kind of bypass the Dusa is definitely what I'm looking for Yellow Submarine. And I'll feel pretty happy with their draft, I think, if they do get that.
Yeah, makes sense. I'm with you. I think actually Centaur is just fantastic in general. It means you can also just keep this Prophet alive. I feel like an issue with Prophet can be like you go in, you're very static, you're a turret, kind of like what Medusa is, but you don't have nearly the same level of survivability. So going Centaur and getting that card eventually can be very nice to just make sure Prophet has the time to get the damage out. So I'd be down for that. On the other side, Team Next Level, you're like, okay, well, the draft doesn't work for that super well. We're looking for an offlaner for them too. You're looking for something that plays with the Leshrac, takes advantage of the Dazzle. Dawnbreakers.
They go for Primal. Interesting.
Okay.
I was actually wondering if they wanted to go for a support there, just to put the Dazzle in a core position, because it's a pretty decent Dazzle core game. And then you're not as worried, I think, about being like a heal bot for the Dusa. But they end up taking away the Primal from Yellow Submarine, which I think was maybe their best hero. But I think the Centaur is a perfectly serviceable secondary to that if they would like it. Maybe they go a different way for Infernal. I'm not sure what he's thinking here, but I do like the concept of the Centaur a lot. And, they ban out the Underlord. Anything that can buy auras, I think, is also quite happy, just in the sense of it's pretty low damage draft by Team Next Level, especially if they get behind in lanes. Their damage is pretty small. I mean, particularly the two supports offer very, very little damage together.
Yeah, so I was like, it might be an Undying game. You can kind of do some fun things where the Dusa just doesn't have any. But even that, like, you can do some interesting stuff in the lane but that would be with an axe. Otherwise, it doesn't really give you all that much. Dark. Oh,
I suppose.
Yeah, I like that. It's an aura buyer, so Lestrac's not going to have as much fun. It is a Leshrac.
I was wondering actually if they're. I think that means that they're then putting the Primal mid Dazzle offlane. I like that more.
Yeah,
I think actually it's not a super great Dazzle or it's not a super good Leshrac mid game. All things considered, you kind of get jumped on. I like this. I like this adjustment by them. I also think I like the Darkseer, but I think it's not maybe as good as it seems, just because I do expect Yahweh now to go for this kind of Maelstrom Ags build that we see sometimes. Maybe that means the pipe gets a ton of value. Maybe it doesn't. I'm not exactly sure, but I would consider with that switch up these drops to be a lot closer. Still probably preferring Yellow Submarine, but only just a little bit, I think, after the role swap there.
Yeah, it's just about, it really does feel like the timings. If you can go and you can, Medusa has a good enough lane, is going to be able to go get themselves into a couple items. There's this window where I'm just not convinced you're going to have enough damage. And like, even with the wall you're talking about, yeah, you're going to go like Maelstrom Ags, probably Mjolnir Ags. And that just doesn't really matter. The illusions don't proc nearly as much. There is some temptation to go for like the butterfly build because of the Prophet, but yeah, I think the Darkseer just says, yeah, we don't want to kill our own team. That's fine. So if you can get Dusa to that like 2-item point, feels difficult for, I don't know, it feels like it's going to be a little difficult for Yellow Submarine to take fights.
Yeah, I'm expecting, I think really what's important to watch is how this offlane goes for Team Next Level and how Dual Rays moves around the map. He might be able to make up for the offlane if things kind of go wonky. But this is a very temperamental off lane. It's Leshrac Dazzle. These two heroes are very feast or famine. Sometimes you see this Leshrac 4 and he just walks under your tower, does all your HP with Misanthropy. Sometimes he doesn't do kind of anything, honestly. So it's a very kind of odd hero. We've seen that as well with the Dazzle. We've even casted Dazzle games in the off lane where it completely lost the game. It just like looked horrible. And we've also casted Dazzle games where it seemed like it was unkillable. It had so much farm. It's just both these heroes I think are very, how much does the player play them? How well do they play around them? And Primal is one of those heroes that you just kind of always watch to see if he makes any of these early weird rotations.
Yeah, certainly. It does mean also that, like, again, I don't think that this is a bad mid lane matchup for Primal. He should be fine. He's not going to get super bullied out of it. But even if it was, you can cheese waves. It's fine. It can be pretty hard to see exactly where Primal is going on the map. But yeah, this off lane, Dazzle loves being against short ranged heroes. Because you poison touch, it's a problem. Everyone's upsetty spaghetti. It feels very difficult to land into. But into a Prophet and a Pugna. Pugna is gonna do whenever poison touch gets popped, you just decrepify. You're not gonna get the reapplication of the poison touch. You just kind of run away. It doesn't really feel like this is an easy. Like there's a whole lot. You're just gonna try to trade, and that's Dazzle wants to get kills in the lane. Like Dazzle wants to be a bit of a dominator. And with the presence of this decrepify and the range and the kind of space creation that Sprout provides as well, it feels very difficult for Norma to be able to do that.
Yeah, I think he's gonna probably have to play with the idea in his head that he's not gonna get too much off of the lane. I would think that he's probably should be more consigned to stacks. I think Fernand should maybe be a little bit more. I'm kind of leaning towards going to other lanes because you're right. I think this is a lane where Norma. He probably shouldn't be dying. I think it's not the heaviest kill threat between a Pugna and a Nature's, but you're very unlikely to punish Bottega and Hakoda in this lane. Certainly not between the decrep and all the sustain that they will have. Late smoke up from both teams.
Is it even a late smoke? I feel like this is what we see happen 95 times out of 100. You're like, yep, it's the 40 minutes or the 40-second smoke. As it's going to get broken on difference and dual rays, so they know what's happening now. A little bit of a wraparound here. Norma is going to be able to block the small cam. That's just about it. So this is looking like it's going to be 2 for 2. Nothing super crazy here, but we do have some people spamming some voice lines.
Could be 3.
Could be 3 actually.
Next level. No.
As we have players spamming a couple voice lines, Roho, we got the TI voice lines that came out. What was it, yesterday? Do you have any favorites?
I definitely did not like the team voice lines too much, but I will say that I was a pretty big fan of I think the cap or the slacks ones are pretty funny. I think everyone's in agreement that they're very slacks. Just him kind of screaming into the mic. I feel like most of them were pretty decent. The Effie one is funny. The espresso one, I like that one. Is there any ones that stood out super to you?
I kind of like Period Flaxes, love me wife, love me something, love me kids, love me dotes, simple as. I don't have a good British accent, so I'm not even trying. But like the football hooliganism one, fantastic. Well done, Period.
Yeah, I really like the tsunami picture. I think that's honestly my favorite thing from.
He's got 2 memes in one. Like that is just multitasking at an incredible level.
Oof. Hakoda took most of his HP in the bot lane, but yeah, I love Tsunami. He's very committed to the craft, very committed to the bit, which I can always appreciate.
The craft of just being as memey as possible. The craft, actually the important craft here for Tsunami is being as close to human Kunkka as possible. Everything else is secondary.
He does replicate the Willem Dafoe quite well, which I wish I could say the same. Very, very handsome man.
Something interesting here, and I guess it's just because of how defensive this lane is going to be playing, but Fernand took Lightning Storm level 1 and just spamming out all his mana on the Pugna to try to make something happen. That's not. I feel like generally when you're playing support Leshrac, it's Misanthropy, it's Diabolic Edict level 1, and you're hoping for an opportunity, right?
Yeah, I think he's just probably aware that it's unlikely to happen without him taking pretty significant damage. Usually with the Diabolic Edict, you kind of want to value it. Once you get to that level 3 difference, we'll steal away the water rune there. Should be fine for dual raise. A little bit annoying at worst.
Yeah, kind of awkward here for Infernal's having a really rough game. We talked about this Darkseer and whether or not it's good for UI, whether it's not, it's good against the modern Dusa. We're seeing this kind of Maelstrom build. Well, he's got 4 CS, and he's been bullied out quite a bit. Now he's got 5, sorry, but he's been bullied out very strongly. And yeah, you can do this Darkseer thing where you get like 3 points in Iron Shell, and you can start to go farm creep camps, but you know, in order for this Darkseer to be effective, you do need levels. And with him being as bullied out as much as he is, that's not the easiest thing to do.
Yeah, I'm a little bit surprised that he's so low CS, but I mean, it feels like it shouldn't be the strongest lane, the Dusanaga. It feels like it should be annoying, maybe get some good damage onto you. And so far, is struggling a little bit for Infernal. Again, he will recover. That's pretty much, we always see the Darkseers recover, but not going to be much in the way of shutting down UI. Medusa is quite proficient, I will say. We've seen him carry some games on this hero before. And that's certainly a pretty good Dusa game overall.
Yeah, and even though Infernal was just about dead and no CS a minute ago, Aggrandize is a powerful thing. So he just gets 2 levels, he gets himself right back up to full, and can start to pressure this a little bit more. I guess that's just kind of the downside of like level 1 Darkseer Batrider, where they don't really contribute all that much. You're just going to be really playing for the lane drag as much as possible, and we saw UI doing a very nice job of just interrupting that as much as possible. But now Infernal not even interested. The Reeling is going to go in on top of the Gorgon's Grasp, but why not just dive? You've got yourself a couple Ion Shells. There's a Surge. Flacco, there's nothing he can do. He's going to go down. UI's out of mana. Here comes Bottega as well. There's the Sprout. A little bit more mana comes back off the full wand, but Bottega should be able to get... Nope, they all get the kills. There's not going to be any kills secured, any kill credit, but they take down the safe lane, and this is the power of the Prophet. You can get so active so early and not really get punished for it. They're going to try to go on top of this Coda hero, and yeah, Pugna will fall, so balance of things, though. I think I'd rather kill 2 in the top lane and lose my Pugna for it than the other way around.
Yeah, a little bit too far up on Hakoda, but generally very well played, bringing Bottega into the top lane so early. Sometimes Dusa can struggle a bit in this matchup of just being dove. He doesn't have very many tools to deal with it. Obviously, Flacco on the Naga Siren. He can be annoying. You know, the Deluge as well is quite obnoxious for Darkseer because it actually does cap his movement speed even through the Surge. But that being said, there's not a whole lot the hero can do into the Darkseer other than Deluge him here and there. Definitely not, you know, very much... Not very good with the illusion-wise. Actually reeling in Infernal here. Deluge is doing a lot of damage.
One more shot. There we go. Flacco will trade here. There's just so much damage over time. More or less, can you... You're not going to get UI, are you? Yeah, no, not enough damage there.
A lot of damage, though. A lot of damage.
He keeps the Mystic Snake up, and that's really what matters. As long as you got a Mystic Snake to play with, you're pretty happy as Dusa. So, still the kill off the Darkseer as he gets himself... Okay, so it's Helmdom Darkseer, which is, I guess, not that surprising. It amps up your farm by a tremendous amount. We're seeing it quite a bit, but I kind of look at this game like, man, you know, just going like full aura Darkseer, going Crimson Guard pretty quickly, Crimson Pipe seems extremely valuable.
It's quite a high value dual raise in the mid lane, using the Pulverize just to do a little bit of tomfoolery, actually walking into MRLS. It's definitely a kill for him. Very nice to pick that up early on the Primal. Hits him above difference. He was kind of winning the lane just slowly on the Void Spirit and gets him back right to where he wants to be on dual raise. And I do think that the Darkseer, obviously the auras do seem very strong in this game, but I think the, you know, Dominator is very inoffensive. Partially, we're seeing Dominator even grow in popularity on some weird heroes. Like there's a Dominator Faceless Void build going around that I think Yatoro did.
Is that real, or is that Yatoro doing it once?
No, Satanic played it as well today.
Okay.
So it is definitely real. I think a big part of it is that Dominator is kind of just a Midas. When you dominate, now they changed it to where you get the XP and the gold. So I think a lot of heroes are just kind of viewing this as like, oh, a Dominator with stats, and also you get this really strong creep to walk around with you. It feels like just a very strong item in general. And in the bot lane here, Bottega definitely not living through that.
Yeah, unfortunately, he was down bottom while everyone was setting up on top of UI on the top side. So UI falls as well, as a lot of pressure on both sides of the map. Unfortunately, well, you got a Pugnaw to one side of this rotation, so he actually can pump a decent amount of damage into this tower with Infernal with his Helm Dom creep as well, and not quite as much pressure onto the bottom tier 1. So you do have that on the balance of things, as we're going to see this Dusa up for 1 more second. He should be back up, and he's keeping back to the tier 2. That's fine. But a lot of heroes around the mid lane here, Rojo, trying to make sure they get that power rune at 8 minutes. And Dual Raise, he's the one that got the high roll. He's got himself a regen rune. So not going to really enable that many moves, but does give him a lot of sustain on the map.
Very happy to take it. And you can see both of the carries are just getting bullied out, having to farm in the deep recess of their jungles. Neither of them having a very good game. It's funny because sometimes we see these. I mean, I think we saw it previously in some of those games. The offlaner is really struggling, but this game, it is certainly the carries under a lot of pressure. And I like this a lot by Fernandes, kind of stalking Bottega in this bot side. Same as well for MRLS, just stalking UI. Neither of these carries can really catch a break for the moment. And MRLS has a pretty high amount of levels here. Doesn't want to commit fully to the dive. Probably
he's got level 6.
But actually,
yeah, he's got level 6 right off those couple creeps. He's going to go right back into it. There's the vacuum. A little bit more mana. UI is dead. They're going to try to trade here, but the Ion Shell is doing so very much, and with a Void Spirit here as well. Yeah, it looks like Flacco gets out, but they dive the Deuce under their tier 2. MRLS did that so well. He pressures him back, but also knew that he was like 1 creep away from 6. So goes in, gets the level, baits him back out a little bit, hits the lasso, and it takes down this Medusa for another time. We're talking about this is like, yeah, both carriers are having a bad time, but I'd rather be the Prophet in that situation. A, you have a little bit maybe more farming potential. B, Prophet can always find space on the map to find farm. Dusa doesn't always feel quite as much as goodbye Leshrac. He's going to get taken down as well.
Yeah, the levels on MRLS are a pretty big deal. Batrider definitely accelerates pretty hard, just in terms of getting these stacks up for Infernal here, and you don't really have to be too present around the Darkseer. He's pretty self-sufficient. Get to head towards the mid lane for himself. I definitely agree. I don't think I would want to be Yaoi in this game. He is struggling a lot, has definitely less comeback mechanics, and he's actually eyeing up a Manta, which I suppose is maybe the I really just need to farm in this game and have a comeback that way. But that is not typical of what we would see for the Maelstrom, and really far north of protection on the Bottega.
Can they get a trade, though? There's gonna be the lasso and the suck, but yeah, we got Norma here, so Dual Raise has to run, and he's gonna get on out of here. Power of Norma. The power of Dazzle compels you to not die.
That was really funny seeing the trample still going while he was lassoed, just kind of killing MRLS just for being lassoed. So go ahead and ult me. The really funny one with the trample is the skewer. If you've ever seen that one, but of course the force movement still causes primordial damage, and Hakoda's going to try and get this D ward in the bot side, and he's going to pay for it. Certainly.
Yeah, that's not great. Also, you talk about that, the facet that Primal took, right? With ferocity means that I think if you don't pulverize, the trample might not have range to kill the.
I don't think so.
But with the facet, you do have that AoE range, or with pulverize being used, you do have that additional range from the pulverize procs. So, yeah, a little unfortunate here. Still about a little less than a 1,000 net worth lead for Yellow Submarine. This Darkseer is massive, top of the net worth by a decent amount. And he's going Pipe first. So on the balance of things, Pipe versus Octarine, or Pipe versus, not Octarine, Pipe versus Crimson Guard You know that Deuce is having a really bad game. There's a lot of magic damage elsewhere. Get that pipe ASAP as they're going to try to get this Void Spirit. Yeah, he's not making the difference in this game yet. He's just going to get taken down. And Infernal, he's like, you see him rotate in, but he's just never quite quick enough. He's just not a fast enough hero. And maybe a TP would have kept his friend safe. But it's like, great, I'm having a great game, but my other two cores are not. And Darkseer is very much a hero that wants to be able to play with other heroes to enable them, not just kind of like be this solo playmaking hero.
Yeah, Infernal Difference hasn't really gotten anything in this game, which kind of sucks for him. He's just 1-1-0. I think with going into Spirit Vessel, you would have hoped for a little bit more. Lasso onto Flacco.
Oh!
Dies actually to the Tendrils, so very unfortunate there. Quote-unquote neutrals, as I like to call them.
Biased.
Not very neutral in this game by any means. Does feel pretty bad to lose that kill, but just an August Iron, I suppose. Chalk that up. Won't feel too bad about it. And Bottega and Yawai are still just sitting about even in net worth. I'm surprised that Bottega, by the way, is struggling quite as much as he is. I guess he just is about to finish the Maelstrom, so maybe he'll start to take off a tiny bit more. But really having a pretty bad game on the Natures so far. Not the best day for Nature's Prophet so far.
No, not really. Not really. He just keeps getting hunted is the problem. And Dual Raze is here again with Fernand's back. This is what she's got to do into the Prophet. So Blink goes on top. There's the Pulverize. There's the damage. Dodges the Split Earth, but still dead. Like, this is the safe spot, right? This is where you're supposed to be as the Prophet, because who's going to be crazy enough to dive beyond your tier 2?
Flacco.
Buying some time here. Got the Vessel. And there's going to be the Split Earth on top of this Void Spirit, looking for that many more stuns. He's going to go down. They tried to kill off Flacco and didn't quite work out for him. So Prophet's dead, Void Spirit's dead. Darkseer continues to have a good game, but can't really add too much into that one. And this Dazzle now, he's got his Ags. This is the Dazzle timing. Like 14 minutes if you get a really fast Ags, which this is. And all of a sudden, like, you are just doing so much damage. You're doing so much healing. You're breaking the game for the next 6 minutes. It is very hard for Yellow Submarine to fight into this.
Yeah, we're in level 11, which is a pretty big deal. You got the Blink on Dual Raze, so the cores are doing really, really well on Team Next level. Even Fernand's is quite farmed for the last rank. Flacco obviously is going to find a lot as well in the Naga, so it's amounted to 3K in terms of the way of Team Next level, which it really wasn't looking like that with how well Infernal was doing, but it's kind of fallen out of his hands on Infernal. He's been farming, hasn't been able to really help the team. And the moves by Team Next level are just really nice. Finding Bottega in random places. They do lose Flacco in the meanwhile to MRLS. But they've just been catching a lot in terms of Team Next level. I think particularly finding Bottega in that very bottom portion of the map just really sends a very strong signal of how aggressive they're willing to play.
Yeah. That's supposed to be where you're safe. That is supposed to be an insane dive. But it was well played out because the Void Spirit and a couple supports were pushing in the mid lane at the same time. And that meant that they knew they were safe on that smoke. They could dive deep. And it's also like, okay, well, you're going to mass rotate to try to kill a Primal Beast. Possible, but not easy. This guy is tanky as hell. So we're going to have to see where he's going right now. Just rotating around, not going to find too much. But the big deal, all of this is Deuce is actually starting to find some farm. Number 3 net worth. Top 2 on his team, rotates north side. That's just to pick up some creeps, but just about has the Manta. Goes into the Maelstrom behind this, kind of the build we were expecting. Maybe going Manta early before the Maelstrom is kind of the exception to the rule, but you close your eyes, look back 5 minutes later, this Deuce is going to be top net worth.
Yeah,
He's done a very good job of farming his way back into this game.
Yeah. The Manta is perfectly serviceable. Very, very good item for the Dusa. Gives you probably more farm speed than Maelstrom by actually a good margin just because of how good your illusions are. I will say, actually trying to hunt on MRLS, and they do get Fernands, catch himself a little less Rackfish.
That is something. I thought the Diabolic Edict Nova was going to kill MRLS, but they do get Fernands, and it's a bit of a nice pressure release valve. Does make it a little bit more difficult to play around. Like, they were really hard invading the jungle, and taking the Lishrak out does mean that theoretically you could start to go clear some of this vision up and make life a little bit easier for yourself. This is onto the mid lane they go. They would love to take this mid lane tier 1 down. It really is enabling a lot of space for Team Next Level right now, but with the Pugna level 9, they should be able to go knock it down. TP comes in, though, from the Leshrac, and there's going to be the reel in. Anything more? Nope, not quite. But now there's the blink in because the Remnant's gone. Good vacuum, though. They're going to be able to mess with things for now, and they're just going to back on up. Finally, Infernal's able to sit behind things and actually mess with the plays of Team Next Level. He also has his pipe done, by the way. So this timing with the pipe done, you'd like to see something happen here.
Yeah, definitely would. Unfortunately, Bottega, I mean, Bottega's behind, but Difference is really far behind on this Void Spirit. Not really finding anything. He did go for the Spirit Vessel, which is quite natural against the, Norma's Dazzle, but doesn't really do anything into, especially UI, and really not too much into the Primal Beast either. So he's not been able to get anything. They will smoke on MRLS and Difference with the lasso. If they could find Norma, they would really, really like to. Much easier said than done. Doesn't have the Holy Locket finished as well.
Yeah, he seems to know something. Oh, he's going to rotate back into this. Different smoke pops. Thinks it's on the high ground, though. Oh. Into a Watcher. Norma just backs on out of there. Hits him with the voice line as well. You had 50-50 of where it was, and you guessed wrong on both of them. But it's going to be a second smoke from ML. No, I guess his smoke never popped. Got a little time on this smoke, but shouldn't really enable too much of anything.
Playing this defensive while you have the pipe feels pretty tough, I would say. I mean, this is all just time where UI is really kind of propelling himself to the top. He's been completely left alone in this top side, as opposed to Bottega, who's been hunted constantly. So UI is very, very happy with the game state so far. He's about to finish his Maelstrom himself. Definitely looking very good for Team Next Level. Again, their draft was kind of contingent on this is a very good Dusa game outside of potentially just the Darks here, but itemizing against it. Dual Raise jumps in immediately on MRLS, canceled by the Remnant.
Good
but
job
he's still
by
go forward.
Difference is always going to pull back just a little bit. We will see the Pugna Ward go down. That is going to be the end of things. So that was another bit of an invade. They're trying to find one. The problem is they're just really, Team Next Level is doing a fantastic job of playing around each other, making it very hard for these moves to happen. And now they got a 4-man smoke. Not really playing with the dudes, baiting her out more than anything else. The Bat Rider on the high ground here. Gonna not quite pop. There we go. Pops the smoke of Dual Raise. Tries to go through the portal. Dual Raise is gonna find him, but hey, you gotta blink. So for now, gonna be able to run on out of here. There's the Onslaught. Nice job with the Flame Break to disjoint that. And the smoke is gonna come to naught, but it is 20 minutes. So they are gonna be able to go and get themselves a nice little Tormentor. A shard on the Naga would be ideal.
Oh,
it's gonna go to Fernand's instead. That's also a nice shard, but being able to go restore the mana on this or the mana on the Medusa seems very good this game.
Yeah, at least it was really, really quick. They do it with Dazzle. That hero is incredible at Tormentor, so didn't really waste anything by grabbing it. They're straight back onto the map, even if they didn't get the highest value shard. And there is, of course, Dual Raises. BKB is finished to play as aggressive as he wants, and he was already doing so without the BKB anyway. They've been rarely able to punish him. Maybe they can catch.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to get on MRLS here. There's the song though. It's playing on the edge of things, but it's gonna really beat out a lot of this now. The projection time. It's a heal, but not. I don't know that that's gonna be enough. Norma though is gonna get sucked down. He's living for so long, and oh no, yeah, he's gonna be able to get on out of here. But we can see now this Dazzle, when 4 heroes commit onto him, it still takes so much to take him down. And that's just
It was unfortunate that he was like, I feel like half a second left on the Spirit Vessel. Maybe if he waited perfectly until the last second, he would have healed enough to actually live there. But it was unfortunate the timing. He's very, very close to living. Spirit Vessel at least doing something at this point for difference, since he hasn't really been able to utilize it. I mean, it feels like Team Next Level really stepped off the gas. They do go on to Hakoda, who should be all, just dead to rights here. does eventually go down to Yawai. And it does feel like Team Next Level has kind of stepped off the pedal a little bit. They're not smoking as much into Bottega. They're not punishing as much as they were before. But realistically, that just means that they're very confident with Yawai just farming away. And they have no reason not to be. He's already finished that Mjolnir. Very, very comfortable game state for him. I'm sure he is telling his team, don't stress too much. If you want to make moves, you certainly can. But there's no need to stress. No need to force anything. We're going to be strong the whole game. Primal Beast doesn't need a ton of net worth. Dazzle is pretty much already at the items that he wants. Finished up the blink for himself on Norma. Hopefully he does get the shard soon. Would have loved to get towards that with the Tormentor, but probably just buy it in any sense. A great game state for Yawai specifically.
The good news for Yellow Submarine, though, is that, okay, so we're looking at this Maelstrom, Mjolnir, Ags build coming out of the Dusa. Eventually, Dusa is going to get to the point where they are building stats. They're going to get a Scotty or something. They're going to start to build some damage. And eventually, the point here is, like, eventually, even if the Darkseer wall is not going to be great now, there will come a point where it doesn't matter what your build is Dusa for the most part. The Darkseer wall will start to kill all of your friends. So as this game goes later, that is a problem, as they're going to find this Void Spirit once again. There's the Onslaught, the Stun, the Split Earth. It's going to be able to chain together, and
good
that is
chain stun.
Dead Void Spirit. Good chain stun indeed. This, man, difference is just not having much of a game. Sitting here, significantly bottom of the cores, still 600 gold away from his Ags at 24 minutes in. It just, life. What is the value of a Void Spirit, even with the Ags? Yes, being able to go silence people is fantastic. Does that do enough to allow them to do something with his Void Spirit?
Honestly, you're mostly in either Remnant and a Spirit Vessel right now, which is not a lot, granted. It is just a very difficult game for difference. He hasn't really found anything. He's 1-3-1 Bayo. That is not the most impressive scoreline at 23 minutes in the game. And in general, Yellow Submarine has not found it too much. They kind of got those early kills on the top side, and since then, it's been a pretty long time since they got any meaningful pickoffs. A few from MRLS, who's been a part of pretty much all of their kills. But other than that, it's really just slowed down, and a lot of it, too, is the supports are just playing around the cores very, very nicely. They're not too greedy here on the side of Flacco and on Fernandes. They're just playing around Dual Rays, playing around Yawai. Very hard for them to get caught out on their own, especially considering that it's, Difference is supposed to be the one kind of making these moves. And since he's had such a bad game, it's mostly just been on MRLS. And even then, it feels like they make a move and then Bottega comes over and he's died a few times doing that.
Yep. Just like this one. MRLS is going to probably... Oh, nice blink. Apparently he will get out of here. I was convinced he was dead.
Me too.
And now,
scary.
Pulverize down for 20, Null the Projection down for 50. They're probably not going to be able to find much of anything with that, but they are spells that have been used.
Yeah.
You're really...
Ags on Infernal, at least. That is kind of meaningful. He has the full pipe, and now he has an Ags. You are right that Medusa eventually still kind of kills her team, but it's a pretty long way. I mean, part of what's nice in the Mjolnir build is not only that you kind of don't deal the damage, you deal damage magically. For the Medusa, who has now finished up her Ags, is level 18. You also kill your own illusion pretty fast. Sometimes the counter to Darkseer or to Grimstroke is you just try to kill the illusion. So Yawai should hopefully be able to deal with that in his own right, but the pipe is going to be quite annoying. This Ags is going to mean that he does have 2 of the illusions, so maybe it makes it that much harder to kill them off.
And remember,
going in a second, Yawai is really far up.
There's going to be the wall going down, and the Stone Gaze as well should be able to cause problems, certainly to the Darkseer. And with the song, he's going to be able to get on out of here. They did get Fernandes on the other side, so there's that. Can they get Flacco as well? There's the silence, all the slows. They're going to get both supports. But remember, Rojo, you're talking about this Maelstrom Ags build. It's a really nice job at killing off the illusions. As we learned in the last series, not as much. you don't do bonus damage to illusions anymore on the Maelstrom. So sneaky Darkseer buff.
Yeah, a little bit. Nice in this matchup particularly. That being said, should still be fine for Team Next Level. Kind of annoying that they lost their 2 supports. I feel like sometimes people underestimate how annoying it is to lose the supports because you lose a lot of space on the map. And it doesn't mean Yellow Submarine smokes up.
They're going to find Fernandes once again here. And he is a support, yes, but he's a very farm support. So taking him down, 700 more gold on the side of Yellow Submarine is not going to quite find dual rays, unfortunately. He finds his way back into the trees, but chain killing Fernandes. You talked about how annoying that can be just to lose your supports, especially now. They've been short. They haven't been a full toolkit for well, like a minute or so of just not being able to play on the map the way they would like. And they trying to turn this into a Roche? It looks like it.
They definitely want to. Bottega is somehow at level 19. I mean, I guess so is Yawai, but I mean, he's been farming just as much as Yawai. Been alone, though he has all these levels. They are going to turn it into Roche. Fernandes will be up in time. Well, probably won't be able to make it to this fight, but they're still going to try and fight it. No doubt about that. Blink in.
Yep, Gorgon's Grass goes down, but that's just going to force the disengage for now. And Fernandes buying the time, or has been bought the time that he needs to realistically come back in. And fighting into this when there's a Primal Beast that just loves to fight in the pit, just dashes in there, causes all the stuns. You can try to force it before the Primal shows up, but like once the team is here, you really do need to win a fight. You do need to win a trade before going into Roche Pit. And Infernal is smoked up, as is MRLS. They're looking for the Blink Lasso target. Now, smoke is done. Naga knows that they're all there, so that's going to back up for now. We talk about Naga quite a bit as like the song, the power of the song, and the ability to heal everyone. If you got the shard, breaking these combos. The vision that Naga gives you with just the perpetual mirror image illusions is causing a massive problem right now. It's very hard for Yellow Submarine to disguise any of the moves they're making.
Yeah, they really would have loved to kind of finish off that Roche. MRLs even kind of standing around it. Very much a standoff on the pit. Although in this meantime, Infernal finished a Blink. It's going to be super meaningful to get on top of that Dusa eventually. And I believe Dual Rays finished the Refresher. Probably the biggest one of those two. Really, really would like to use this Refresher timing. Hakoda would be a great target if they can find him onto directly.
There we go. Gets on top. Bad Art shows up as well. Just kind of dying as well, but Difference does damage. There's Fernandes dead. And now the song looking for the second re-engage. Gorgon's Grasp buys down to the very end just to make sure. Oh, it doesn't hit them actually. Here comes Infernal. Drops the wall, gets the punch as well. Multiple illusions going down on you wide. Do they have the damage to take this Dusa down? Not really. Barely not, but now Bottega's in a little bit more, looking to go. There's the Shallow Grave, and he has to back the hell on out of here. Teleporting up, that they're gonna be able to go and make sure he doesn't die at least, but that's what you talked about. The wall, even with the double illusions, not enough to kill the Dusa, not enough to kill Dusa's friends. They do get the Primal Beast at the end, there's that, but everyone else survives. Bottega, he's full HP. Looking for a cheeky snipe here on the high ground. Is this gonna work? He's got a healing Lotus. Gets damage done onto Flacco. Tries to assassinate him. He's gonna force something there. Flacco's dead. Why no mana? Can we get him down? Roche in the pit, 5% HP. Bottega not gonna get it, but it will be the Aegis on top of MRLS and the Shallow Grave. It heals a lot. It heals so very much here, but they prevent the Aegis on the side of Team Next Level. Prophet gets a couple more kills. He hits level 21. He's getting closer and closer to that to the Daedalus. Just very well played there, reading the situation, realizing that yeah, okay, I'm 1 versus 3, but everyone's very low on the side of Team Next Level.
Yeah, it was. I mean, what was really nicely done is MRLS. He force-staffed the Yawai out of the pit. That's what that was. I kind of thought at first that Yawai had finished the Hurricane Pike and went out himself to not die there, but really nicely done by him. Probably he could have given away the Aegis to Bottega, and that would have been a really good sequence of events, but still was nice. Even Bottega onto Yawai. Had vision enough. Wasn't able to finish them off, unfortunately. But denying that Aegis was very nicely done. Still was a great fight for the likes of Team Next Level. Level 18 now for dual rays. They're still in great position, but not getting that Aegis on Dusa definitely hurts. You generally really want Aegis on Dusa. Be able to play the map really happily. But now Yahweh has to play at least a little bit careful because the damage from Bottega is definitely coming out. And as you said, there is now Dados about 400 gold from being finished on Bottega.
Oh, she's going to round things out with the Lincolns after that, which is not, I can respect it. You know, you are worried about this Primal Beast. 100% makes sense. But it's not what we generally see. You know, like ideally you're getting a Satanic at this point or a Butterfly or something that kind of really amps your ability to stay in fights. So full build on this Bottega Nature's Prophet, not quite as powerful as what we would otherwise see in some different games. Maybe that's going to matter later on. I don't know, but it does mean that kind of like full cap, this full cap Prophet, it does not have the damage potential that it might otherwise have.
Yeah, again, this is another game as well where it's kind of awkward to go the Satanic. It's definitely better this game, but Satanic is generally quite bad in Dedusa since you don't heal during the shield time, so you can avoid going that. A shield rune onto dual raise is definitely not meaningless. An extra 1400 HP is quite helpful if they do find a fight. Smoke up, not going to catch anyone. Yellow Submarine are much, much wiser to this. Just going to sit as far back in their base as they have to. Could just be a Tormentor for Team Next Level, but not necessarily what they were hoping for.
No, but it should. Pretty much all the shards that are remaining as it's going to go into normal. I was going to say all the shards that are remaining are fantastic. You get healing and mono restore on the Naga. Now you can't really jump on top of Norma unless you have a silence as well, which they do, so it's okay. But Norma much more survivable now. You could go and make it so anytime you try to go and lasso your Y, he just stones you immediately. Bunch of very good shards remaining here as Dual Raise runs in. Not going to find Hakoda.
Very tense game. Definitely trying to avoid getting jumped for the most part on Yellow Submarine. You can see their positioning really reflects how scared they are of the likes of Dual Raise. Flacco, again, is providing a lot of value just with the vision.
It's two-man smoke, though. Three-man smoke. They're going to find Fernand's. Oh, it blinks away. MLS goes in. They do find Fernand's on the backside. There's the wall going down on this Deuce. Fernand's, Shallow Grave keeps him alive for now. But Bottega, though, on the backside, gets on top of Norma here, starts to click him down. The healing is good, but Norma's dead, and now Flacco goes down as well. No song available. Can they get the Deuce here? Fernand's on top of Bottega is going to get taken down as well, and there's going to be the Hurricane Pike. Deuce does not stand in this game. And that was all with the Primal not being there. They found 4, not 5. And Bottega just finds his target immediately, gets on top of this Dazzle, does not let him sustain the fight in the way that he would like to really like to do so. And they get 4. That is a massive turn for Yellow Submarine.
It was so difficult for them that Dual Raise wasn't there because that TP is usually psychotic on Bottega. A very, very nice recognition there. Absolutely wins them that fight, but if there's a Pulverize there, he easily could have died. Just wasn't able to on Dual Raise to get there, and that 4v5 pans out horribly for them. Again, you can see how much they need Dual Raise, truthfully, in these fights to be that kind of X factor, to be that utility. He has finished the Ags, but it takes the full 5 to 6k lead that they've been garnering on the side of Team Next Level and just reduces it to a pulp. Now 1k for Bottega, finished even his Lincolns, almost level 25, is officially above where this Deuce is. And again, the issue, at least with having to go this Mjolnir build, to kind of deal with the Darkseer, is that you are still relatively squishy on the ally compared to what a typical Deuce would be. You don't have that luxury of going for the Butterfly that you would really like to. And now it's removed teleportation cooldown for Bottega.
How dumb is it? This Prophet, for the longest time, had you still have the 3x Treant talent, but yeah, Ironwood Treant, like, okay, we're just going to do that because it like 3-hit structures. And it's like, okay, we've nerfed that one out of the existence. Oh yeah, you have another massively OP level 25 talent.
Yeah.
Sometimes you're like looking at a hero, it's like, oh yeah, both are good, but like, okay, 20 Diabolic Edict Explosions is so much better. Is really OP, or plus 40 Intelligence is so OP, and Gorgon's Grass Volley, like, who cares? And you just have this Prophet
in the game
who has like just the most OP, 2 of the most OP level 25 talents, and you remove one of them, it's like, okay, great. I'm still permanently teleporting everywhere. Yeah, it's okay, fine. So
Yeah, just TP it wherever you want. You don't even have to use your legs anymore. Bottega is, he likes to experience touching grass, so he likes to walk around, feel something in his legs. Wants a little bit of a standoff in the mid lane. Invis for MRLS could maybe catch something. Raze is going to push out this wave really quick.
Oh, there we go. Finds dual raise, moves in. That's a massive amount of damage. But by the way, Bottega, not only does he have a Daedalus, he's got a Giant Small as well as goodbye to this Leshrac. This fight also right outside of the tier 3s. They have creeps incoming. No backdoor protection right now. So Bottega hitting level 25 again with Giant Small, alert Giant Small, and all the damage that he has. He takes these towers down incredibly quickly. They're just ignoring the Dusa. This Dusa, though, does have the Scotty. It just means the wall is that much better now, too. As the Lucian's going to have to run away. It looks like that will get taken down. They do get the tower. Looks like it's a bit of a backup for now. Not too far, though. Dakota can still get a lot of damage done onto these structures.
Going to be a very slow siege here. Fortunately, it does the blast into the backdoor protection. Bottega still taking quite a bit of damage. Is going to TP out from Yaoi, so they don't get any actual meaningful buildings, not any racks, just a tier 3 here for them. But still, you can see the merit of, Yaoi is really strong, but just killing the heroes around him, pretty effective strategy so far. The damage from Bottega is still ridiculous. I mean, he's probably missing that 5 agility a little bit, but I suppose the Daedalus makes up for that a tiny bit.
And the Giant Small
25 mark.
And yeah, the 31 bonus attack speed from alert.
And the 100 bonus attack range. Maybe it's coming up Bottega this game. He's collecting some lotuses, maybe hoping for a cheese in his stocking one of these days.
And by the way, that last item will actually be a Satanic. And you're right, into a Dusa, you're not really super happy with the Satanic. You don't want to be hitting them. You're just not going to get any lifesteal off of it. But there is a beautiful Primal Beast and a bunch of other heroes that you're probably going to be hitting before the Dusa. So being able to go and heal yourself right back up to full when you go and you just psychotically teleport right on top of this Dazzle, you're pretty happy about that one. You don't need to worry about things too much. There's a double teleport, though, from Dual Raze and Norma on the north side. This Prophet's pretty alone. They're gonna be able to find him. That's 3 heroes now. Leshrac, Dazzle, and the Primal. It's a very brief window because you know Bottega's gonna teleport out of here pretty quickly. They're not gonna find him. Instead, MRLS is gonna go find this Primal Beast. Here comes the Prophet. TV's right into things. But okay, Fernand's gets on top. There's gonna be the second refresher. Pulverize. They're gonna lock down this. Oh no, there's gonna be the Hex as well. Bottega's dead. Does have buyback if they want to spend it, but I think you just gotta run on out here. 3 dead on the side of Yellow Submarine. Infernal falls as well. It's only the Void Spirit that gets on out of here. Okay, they do get the Primal at the end. Void Spirit was able to make that happen, but the song, there's going to be the Gorgon's Grasp. Actually not going to hit, but there's no Astral Step. So all 5 dead for the cost of this Primal Beast. You cannot let the Primal go and get the Pulverize off on this Prophet. And here's what broke the Lincolns?
I can't tell. It might have been Norma, but I actually can't tell. I think he might have placed his Lincolns onto MRLS. If I was watching that correctly. So I think he might have actually given that away and then ended up getting hit himself. But I mean, it's also just kind of the, you go on to somebody that's not Norma and Norma gets all of his spells off, and then the fight looks kind of disastrous from there. Trying to kill the Roshan in the middle of the river is funny, but they do eventually bring it down. Definitely a huge swing. And one thing to note as well with this Primal Beast, and part of the reason that I think this hero is rising to popularity a little bit, starting to become pretty popular, is the Ferocity is just a very, very strong facet. Obviously, every Pulverized Slam increases your AoE. Super, super strong. Probably AoE is one of the best stats for Primal Beast. But with the Refresher, you actually stack it. It doesn't refresh the duration, it actually stacks. So you can get up to 6 stacks of the Ferocity, which is just obscene. You can see his Trample was like 4 or 5 times the size of what normally would be. So absolutely ridiculous. Getting 2 of those off in a fight is really detrimental. And usually he wouldn't if their Lincolns was there. But again, unfortunately, it just either was popped or Bottega placed it on somebody. Didn't have his item finished either on Bottega. He still had that 5,000 gold sitting there. Maybe that could have helped there, but Yeah, the Norma effect is definitely substantial. Who, by the way, he's bought a Dagon on Norma. Kind of funny. I suppose that is to kill the Medusa illusion. I don't actually know if it still does, but I assume that he's doing that out of good faith. So I would assume that it still does kill the Darkseer illusion. Kind of a smart little counter, but maybe that's maybe there's an item that you'd prefer to have there so you don't get jumped on and die instantly. But Norma doesn't care. He wants to kill that gosh dang illusion.
It does still instantly kill illusions.
Yes.
So
yeah. I just didn't know if it still killed the Darkseer ones, but I believe it does. So
yeah, I don't think. I'm pretty sure that. Wait, no. Does it still kill strong illusions?
I think it does. I don't know. I'm not fully sure. I'm assuming that if Norma bought it, then it probably does. Regardless, if it doesn't, I'm sure he'll recognize that and throw it away. He is eyeing an Ag's Blessing and then a Shadow Blade. I actually was thinking Shadow Blade maybe could be nice just to not get lassoed. Feels pretty decent there. But it has been confined to the base now on Yellow Submarine. Basically, Bottega is the one allowed outside of the base with his infinite teleports. Rest of the team has to be pretty confined these spots here. And Difference still is rocking the brown boots. I do like that by him. Very humble.
Salt of the earth, you know. He knows where he came from. He respects it, and gonna be good. It also means that, like, realistically, outside of travels, there's not like a boot upgrade at this stage in the game. It's not gonna really do all that much for you. Like, not that. Yeah, Treads is not gonna make or break a fight at this stage in the game. As pressure shows up once again, a lot of treants pushing on the top side, so you do have to be careful of that. Here is Pugna just. You're like, well, yep. He's like, yep, I am sucking the illusions. I am doing damage to the illusions. Give me 5 minutes, and I will eventually kill them off. Good job.
Yeah, he'll think about it. He'll
oh, there we go. Okay, so punch goes in, and the wall as well here, but that's just buying some time. It's a decent amount of damage from these illusions now, but buying some time. I love, by the way, that you get an illusion off of the Naltha projection. That just feels weird.
Yeah, I did not know that. I suppose the Dazzle is kind of like, I guess he's in the position. Weird. Yeah. Surprised that it does work that way. Not that a Dazzle illusion does literally anything, so it's just a fun little trivia fact there. Dual Race does have another shield rune. It's only 2,000 HP this time. Just extra for existing. Has a She Was even finished, so very, very strong on Dual Rays. Smoke up from Yellow Submarine. Jump in.
Continues to run in. There's okay. There we go. There's the save from Pugna.
Alcoda.
Yeah, UI does a lot of damage there. Difference on the back line is going to be able to dodge up the stun. That's something. They're just trying to eat spells away. As on the top side, the racks are getting taken by the creep, so that is something here. But UI, he wants to go much deeper. He's deep in the base in the next minute that he has, but there's going to be the lasso. Another wall. Not going to get him into the fountain. That would be ideal. But even still, he's very deep here. Infernal's getting shredded, runs back to the fountain. Willfall does have buyback. And that's going to be the first life of your ones. Do they have another? No refresher on this Bat Rider. Can they vacuum him in? Maybe. There's going to be the stun. Punch goes the other way. And oh, Difference is dead. Okay, no buyback there. 85 seconds. Top side of the map, Rax has fallen. So they have gotten something out of this. But they need to find more. No lasso for 20 seconds. Has been taken out, right? He can't get close to this turret. Absolutely. The only way you address this is TP in. Running in does not work.
And Yaoi knows. I think he is just assuming that there is no buyback for Difference. He would definitely be correct. Bought out here on a Difference. So he's actually hitting the tier 4s. Oh, Manta. Gonna be
very well done there. Couldn't find the lasso. He's going to be able to get out of here for now. And there with the Outworld staff is going to be fine. But the pressure on the tier 4s is really starting here.
It's real.
And they just can't get close. Now Koda runs in. He's just dead. They can't get, you got to go buyback, but now Bottega goes in on backside. Flacco, though, gets the song off in time. Really nicely done there, and that buys the space for UI. Diving on top of him a second, that was going to be very hard. MLS pops his BKB, tries Infernal. He's going to get the punch off once again, but the problem is Bottega on the backside just not doing the damage he needs just yet. Now starts to lay into Fernan just a little bit more, but he's broken. He's so controlled. He needs some way to hit something, and he can't. 99 seconds on the deck. We'll have to buy back into this, and they just cannot approach this Dusa problem in their base. There's going to be another vacuum. But now Infernal is dead. But Tega's just getting melted here. There's nothing that he can do. And Difference finally back alive. But it doesn't matter because the rest of them are all dead. He's going to get taken down again, runs back into Fountain. But that's the game. They made an incredible fight back in Team Next Level's in their jungle. But this Dusa problem was just something they could not overcome.
Yeah, the damage there at the end was pretty crazy from Yawai. Again, the Darkseer, in theory, very much a counter to the Dusa, but wasn't able to fully flesh it out for Infernal. Just a lot of issues surmounting for them. And honestly, dual raise on the Primal was a huge problem. So they just had a lot of things to address. You know, you want to jump Flacco so he doesn't Song. You want to jump Norma so he doesn't Shallow Grave. You want to jump dual raise so he can't pulverize you. And that is just too tall of an order in that late stage of the game. But did end up just kind of unfortunate for Yellow Submarine. I feel, you know, Difference ended the game with a pretty decent kind of stat line. I feel like he did a lot better past like the 35-ish minute mark. But that first 30 minutes was pretty rough for the Void Spirit Bayo.
Yeah, and you take a look at the other side. I'm just looking at UI's stat line. 980 to almost 1,000 GPM, 72,000 hero damage. You know, you let Dusa get up to 7.5 slots because he had the, I don't know if we want to call us an ag shard a full slot, but he ate his ags. He was 6 slotted on top of it. You let Dusa get to that point. You give him 1,000 GPM. It will do a lot of damage.
Yeah, that might be good, I'm thinking. It was a great Dusa game. They set UI up for it. Yellow Submarine, they had a really strong early game, actually, with Infernal, but just kind of weren't able to translate it into anything weirdly. I feel like they had that kind of just awkward stint there where they lost a few kills to Team Next Level, and then from there, they just kind of let Yawai farm, and that pretty much led them exactly where they wanted to be, just heading into that game 2.
Yep. So we got about 10 minutes, and then we're going to get game 2 on the way to see if Yellow Submarine can go and strike back and send us to that game 3, or whether Yawai and the rest continued on this heater.